So you guys all know this, right? The internet's been bullying, torturing Sneako for weeks now. And he actually put out a response video that very few people covered. We covered it on Red Fox Comms. I think we shot that a couple days ago. That should be going up later tonight on the Red Fox Comms channel. But nobody really covered it. And Sneako was pretty ass mad about it. He was pretty upset. He was tweeting stuff like, oh, the woke YouTubers, they'll slander and lie about me, but they won't even go over my response, which, I think Sneako's a clown or whatever, but fair enough. I'm always for hearing people out. That being said, I will say this video did have I had a lot of problems with it. I've seen this video like four. Okay, chill out. I've seen this video 4 times now, and it's just got a lot of coping in it, I feel like. A lot of coping, a lot of dismissal, and some points that just don't really make sense. I feel like with Sneako, the reason why he's so easy to be hateable isn't just that he's controversial or he has crazy opinions or anything like that. I feel like that's a very simplistic way to look at it because there's realistically, if you think about it, there's plenty of people that are controversial and say crazy things and have crazy opinions that are way more palatable to like a mass audience than Sneako. It seems like with Sneako, everybody thinks this guy sucks, So I think the main problem is that he doesn't really address stuff like one by one. So he'll make a video and he'll talk about, the cuckoldry incident, right? But that's like one of like 50 different things. And when he does that, he sort of simplifies all of the criticism and shit that he gets as the internet's mad that I went to a swingers party. And it's like, not really. That's not the main reason. I mean, people say that to make fun of you or for jokes and stuff like that. But it's more so your glorification of that lifestyle after the clip, which was horrifying, which was way worse than the original clip. But also like a million other things, your treatment of Brandon Buckingham, lying about other YouTubers, engaging in toxic behavior, but then crying about said toxic behavior, all of that stuff. And to be fair, at the end of the video, if you watch it, he does say like he's done with that sort of style of content, the attacking people and stuff like that. He's ready to become a force for good, which who knows what that means. Only time will really tell what the fuck that means. But we could watch some of this video. I've already seen it, and I'd rather just get into the debate, to be honest with you, because that's probably going to be the more interesting one. Apparently, he also debated Ada Ross and trans people, which sounds like a completely retarded conversation, because Ada Ross is also fucking retarded. But that might be a topic for tomorrow. I'm not sure. Either way, let's just fucking get into this shit. Oh, before we get into that, though, I did want to go over this tweet real quickly. Cuties is really about how important Islamic values are in the face of satanic wokeness. I love Cuties.
Side of the woke degeneracy, and that's why I will continue to defend the movie Cuties until Moist Critical decides to debate me about it. Nobody who hates the movie Cuties has seen it. It's about an Islamic family that moves from West Africa to France, a woke country that's literally on fire right now, and the daughter of the family gets corrupted by TikTok and starts dancing provocatively and leaves her Islamic values behind. She goes from a good Muslim girl to a degenerate wokey, lying, twerking, and fighting, and it blows up in her face and her family's disappointed, and eventually she reverts back to Islam. I like that movie because I see it as another version of my life. I started YouTube at 11 years old, and following the trends of social media before God led me to complete degeneracy.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack with that one. I'm not going to sit here and say that everything you sing in that clip is retarded, because he does have... I can sort of string together what he's trying to say. All right, let me put it to you guys like this. Imagine you live your teen years, you're not really doing shit. You have a big YouTube channel, you're successful, whatever, but things are just going relatively normally all until a year ago when you decide to go on this warpath against the internet, rise up, 5 billion views on TikTok, 1 million subs, 20,000 live viewers, constant debates, constant criticism, constant shit talk that you're both issuing out and receiving, right? Both ways. And then you lose everything, you get banned from everything. Now you're with Kanye West and you're going to war with the fucking, the government and stuff like that. It's a crazy path to go down for only 12 months. Because realistically, Sneako's life has not been nearly as insane as it has been in the last year. And with most YouTubers, most streamers, when they have these like explosive giant careers, usually that happens on a 10-year, decade-long span. Not 1 year. That's crazy. And anybody going through that path would go fucking mentally insane. Not to excuse him, of course, for any weird shit that he's done. I'm just saying, it's like, I get what he's saying, right? Going down that social media, he basically did the most extreme version of that possible and came out the other end with the entire world just either hating him or just mocking him and stuff like that. So obviously it's going to have an effect. Nobody, is surprised by this. Nobody's surprised when you look at his Twitter and you see how crazy some of his tweets are. It's not shocking at all. So I guess I kind of get what he's saying there, but then again, at the same time, Cuties like sexualize real children. I mean, I don't mean to say that everyone knows that. I'm not saying that to sound brave, but I'm just pointing to the obvious, right? Like the movie, if the idea behind the movie was clear and good, the execution to, create that into reality was horrible and pedophilic. And that's why people hate that movie so much. So I guess he's going to debate Critikal. And I saw Sylphid in the chat was like, I like how just random, arguments and disjointed thoughts are now considered a debate. Oh, by no means am I expecting for this to be like, the presidential debate of 2023 between Moist, Critikal, and Sneako. As much as Sneako is a clown or whatever, everyone's been shitting on Critikal for a while too for his, videos not being the most well-researched. I mean, generally his takes are pretty good, but I don't really look at Critikal as like a paragon of thought either, not to shit on him. I don't think he's stupid. I don't really get that impression of him, but I also don't really get the impression that he's anything, any guy you would expect to have a debate about pedophilia, Islam, Cuties, The Matrix. I mean, I'm expecting this conversation to be completely and totally retarded. So we'll see.
We'll use our beef, for example.
Also, another thing about this too. Sneako's debating Critikal outside in the middle of Japan about pedophilia. So anybody walking by or whatever is like, what the fuck is going on here?
You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was I don't stand by my beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do?
The internet and people like you that I put in the Soulboy collage dislike Andrew Tate from the start because of what he talks about, because he comes off arrogant, I'm top G, I'm the alpha male, and people get triggered because they're in their room, they're playing games, and everything he talks about goes against what they're about. So when he goes to jail falsely, people find it fun because finally the guy that goes against everything I believe in is in jail and can't talk anymore. It's not fun because it's like this goofy story. People like you were genuinely happy that they went to jail.
The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like Cuties. We'll tie it back to Cuties. When I saw that film and the way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized, because now you have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider, to be child porn.
Yo, do you know Moist Critikal?
Moist Candy video.
Yeah, the Me Candy video.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey Charlie, what's up, man?
It was
How's
funny.
it going,
We laughed
man?
about it.
Cool.
Hey, Charlie. We squashed the beef.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Discussion with
Okay, this is going to be insane. So I should also give some sort of context here at the beginning there. In Sneako's response video that I was talking about earlier, I love the new Sneako. Basically, he mentions that, Moist Critikal, everyone thinks he's this great YouTuber, but if you look at his content, he stands for nothing, right? He stands for nothing. All he's there is just promote gaming and porn and degeneracy, and he sucks, basically, right? Which to me, cool story, bro. That's kind of how I hear that, right? Like, what are you doing that's so different? I mean, at that point, you're just crying about entertainment and saying, oh, your content doesn't have a purpose. Your commentary videos aren't making the world a better place. And it's like, well, first of all, they're providing an entertainment value, which is real value, sure. But even still, even if you don't agree with that, if you think his videos provide no value, so fucking what? Who cares? Why do we need content that provides value to the world? And is Sneako's content even doing that? I think it is in an entertainment standpoint, but I also think Moist Critikal is too as well. So it just seems like a nice way to, it seems like a pretty way to, like, again, I guess just dismiss criticism as like, oh, well, you're not doing anything with your life. Well, is that even true, first of all? And second of all, who cares?
With you about Cuties since I dropped that video back in 2020.
How time flies, man. Well, better late than never.
So, have you seen the movie?
Yeah, so you mentioned you saw my video, so you know I didn't finish the movie. I physically couldn't. I found it just...
Shit. I forgot to mute donos.
Funded $5. Harley Morenstein is a raging faggot.
Is that really... Is that really... I doubt... That's really Connor. That'd be insane if that was, though. Oh, by the way, we're talking about getting Harley on stream soon. Either with me or with me and Connor or something. It might be on the other channel. I'm not sure yet. We're still working out the details.
to be completely repulsive.
Haven't you seen a lot of other movies that have repulsed you before? I watch horror movies. I watch movies that are provocative quite a bit.
Yeah, but this is something I feel isn't being recognized. There's a difference between being repulsed by fiction, which is like horror movies, that's not real, and being repulsed because there's real children doing sexual things. You can't fake that. The actresses were 11 to 13 years old. They were twerking. There was some very gross scenes in there, and like the camera would zoom in on their chest and their ass and their crotch. Like, that's a very different kind of repulsion.
Look at his face, dude. Sneako's a very funny looking individual. Just like he's talking about how the movie is like, yeah, but there's like real girls getting sexualized and it's like weird. And also the top proponents of this movie are like Mr. Girl, where he's talking about how he regrets, or not even how he regrets, but how he's getting like boners and the girls were hot. And it was so awesome how it really made him feel comfortable to be attracted to children and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like, and Sneako's like, oh boy.
Pulsed.
That's what we agree on. I don't agree that those scenes are good. I don't agree with the sexualization of children. I defend the movie because I defend the morality of the movie. And I think that most people that were disgusted...
But the morality of the movie is ass. Okay.
Clips or didn't watch the whole movie like you. So that movie was taken out of context quite a bit. And people don't really see the moral of the movie, which is defending Islamic values, and also pointing out the very real problem that young girls have going on social media and doing these dances. I agree that it's disgusting. I agree that those scenes are repulsive, but I think it could be repulsed by TikTok and pretty much what young girls are doing on social media every single day as well. I think...
Well, okay, then they're both bad. What?
That people outraged at that film should also be outraged at everything that girls are doing now on Instagram, TikTok, and all these apps.
Yes, wasn't that the point of what everybody who was against Cuties was saying? Now, obviously, I'm sure a lot of YouTubers that covered it were just fucking virtue signaling or whatever, and just covering it because that was like the news when Cuties came out. That was like a huge topic and stuff like that, right? But I'm pretty sure the point in their fucking videos was, hey, all of these fucking girls that are twerking, shaking their ass that are like 11. This is fucking horrible, right? So why would they then be a pro that on TikTok? Because he's right. That does happen. I mean, you look at some of these girls on TikTok, like what, Daniel Cohn or whatever. Some of these like underage fucking Instagram models. They're fucking nuts. Like they're just straight up like basically porn accounts, but they're like 15 and they're promoted. Yeah, sure. But why is Cuties the answer to that? That makes no sense. What? Also, fuck this guy. What is this? It's really about how important Islamic values are. Good one. You're clipping my TV. Fuck you! Stop! Yo, Lotan with the 10 says, I respect Harley's commitment to his bad take on the whole Critter Clash 2 drama, but it's getting kind of strange. Been getting notice of him replying to comments on my videos 3 days out from now. Love you. Yeah, thanks for the donation or whatever. Yeah. We're going to talk to Harley soon, I think. He does seem pretty open to a conversation, so... I was going to go over him a little bit on my next stream. I'll probably go over a lot of like the recent stuff because him and Connor had a pretty funny back and forth. But I'm really hoping to get him on stream because I agree. I'm looking at Harley's takes recently, and bro, it's just been like the copium that he's on is just insane. Like we've got to talk to him, but he does seem down to talk, which is cool. I can respect that. Fix your TV, motherfucker. I'm doing a show. Do you want me to end the stream to like, okay, we're turning off the stream. My TV's flickering every 20 minutes. Who cares? Fuck you. But I do appreciate you donating because slowly I'm building back the money that I gave to you in the first place that I regret. So I do appreciate that confusing opinion. So 07's confusing opinion in the chat, all right? CB Applejack with the 2 says, Harley tweeted me denying Sam bet his car at $250K. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to compile everything, and we're going to talk about it when we talk to him. I'm going to see if I can book that for tomorrow. It might be Tuesday. I'm not sure.
Well, see, but here's the thing. So let's break it down to the very bare essentials. Can children consent?
Can children consent? No, they can't. We agree.
So then why do you think it's excusable to exploit them after having them sign up for this film? If you admit they can't consent, how can they possibly give the okay to be shaking their ass and having a camera all up in their shit while they're doing sexual things, like that scene where she takes a picture of her vagina, the scene where they're doing literal, like...
Jesus, man. When you say it, when you spell out, by the way, what the scenes are, I mean, how can you be Sneako in this situation? Just stand there in real life too and defend this. You know what I mean? Because I know he's not defending the sexualization, but he kind of is though by saying, "Oh no, I acknowledge that part's bad, but the movie Cuties overall is for a much greater purpose." You know, like how the fuck? You know, he's got an impossible argument to defend here because again, if it was just about the message, sure, yeah, but it's not. That's the entire fucking point. We're 3 minutes into this, and already this is, like, indefensible. But, I mean, we'll listen to it, I guess. Also, big shout-out to the $50 Super Chat, Dr. Sex 2, the sequel, with the big 50. Thanks for being awesome. Thanks for being someone I can listen to in the background while I work in retail. I'm just curious if you have a take on Aiden Ross, or if you just don't really care about him. No, I think Aiden Ross is hilarious. What the fuck? I just made you a standard moderate. I don't know what that means. No, I think Aiden Ross is hilarious. I actually really like Aiden because Aiden's crazy. And even though I'm talking shit about Sneako, make no mistake, all right? My views on like these people like Sneako and Aiden are somewhat complicated because I don't really look at them as blanket bad or blanket good, you know? I think they're totally fucking crazy and deranged, but I also like that. You know, we need characters like this to create an interesting storyline. So I like that they exist. I don't necessarily think either of them are great people, obviously. But in terms of entertainment, I think more of them should exist. Confusing with the tenses. It's been broken for 5 days. Tisk, tisk. I'll get another 150 from you somehow. Good one. Didn't Aiden quit yesterday? Chris the narc. What day was it yesterday, Chris? Bro, what are you saying? You think Aiden Ross quit his fucking job yesterday? Come on, bro. What are you saying, my dude? Bruh. All right.
Around with cam sites, like, that's very different. Like, no one is disputing the message, right?
I agree with the intention of the movie. I don't think that those scenes are good. That's what we completely agree on. But I think that was an important movie to point out how many people get sucked into this world. I think that was needed. That movie was needed to be made. And I also don't think that movie encouraged pedophiles to go and incite and look at these girls. I think that they're more likely to go on TikTok and find girls that they're attracted to. I don't think that this really attracted people to these girls.
Well, it's not like...
Well, I mean, one of the top defenders of it, in fairness to, you know... Charlie here, one of the top defenders, Mr. Girl, literally that was his defense, right? Now, does he represent all of the Cuties, you know, defense on the internet? Yes, I would say.
It's not like I'm here arguing that this movie created pedophiles, right? But what it did is it delivered a film that they would watch for totally different reasons than the message. Again, the message isn't something that I or pretty much anyone has an issue with. The message is, like you mentioned, the social media poisoning them, making them do the sexual things, which is a problem. But this movie contributes to it since it still used real children to sexualize them, to showcase it. That's the issue. You didn't need it to be children.
I don't think it contributes to it, because when you see girls doing this on TikTok, they don't know.
I don't see girls doing it on TikTok, though, is the thing, right? The only people that would are going to be the pedophiles. They would go and search that out. This movie was advertised on Netflix.
No, that's not true. Every time, I don't have TikTok on my phone, but once in a while before I was banned, I would go on there, and the first 3 videos would be the same thing that you see on Cuties. And that's why I uninstalled the app. That's why I
the same thing?
My phone, because it's directing you to those images.
Which is a problem. I'm not disagreeing that's a problem. But that doesn't make this film...
We agree, but we just disagree that I think the movie was important to point out a flaw. Personally, I never empathized with girls being directed to that site before I saw that movie. That really made me understand what it's like to be a girl and grow up in that age.
Bro, he's turned this around on Charlie so much already. Which is kind of what he has to do here to defend this fucking impossible position. Well, he's saying, like... I don't even know, dude.
Yes, we agree that it is disgusting, but you are excusing it because you believe it highlights a very real issue, which it does, but it contributes to that issue by using children. They didn't have to use kids. You recognize that, right? They could have used...
They didn't have to use kids. But I also look at the director, and I look at the moral of the movie, and I don't think that it was anything unsafe, and I don't think that the director had any bad intentions making it. So maybe it shouldn't have been as sexualized, but I defend the morality of the movie, and I also defend the effect that it had on me. When I watched that made me have a new perspective.
But do you see why that's kind of...
When I watched Cuties, it made me have a new perspective. Things you would normally... never want to say out loud. Bro, this is a real head scratcher. He really came in fucking crazy for this one. Okay. All right, we'll see how this goes. But right now, like, I mean, he's saying like, oh, well, Cuties, you know, the message behind it was good. The intent behind it was good. If you look at the director, you know, I trust the director. The director seems like a good person or something, right? And it's like, yeah, but like the movie still did the thing. So what the fuck? Like, how can you even say that? Even if I can acknowledge the intentions were good, so fucking what? Right? XYZ with the 20. Everyone in the chat, don't type that. But thank you.
Jesus, sorry, that was my cat. Do you see why that's kind of concerning to hear, though? Because in the time that I watched that film, there were unreal amounts of sexual scenes. In fact, the majority of the movie was them doing like the dance routines where they're smacking each other's ass, zoomed in on them shaking their ass in the camera. There's that scene where a security guard's like, what are you girls doing here? And they're like, we're dancers. He's like, prove it. So they start twerking for him, and he's like, oh, great, get in here. Like, that is a problem. No.
Okay, I agree. Okay, what Sneako's trying to say here is like, sometimes you have to show like the horrible fucked up nature of the world to really understand like why it's bad, right? But again, even that, you can still show, like, you can show all that shit on TikTok, what TikTok promotes, go into make a whole deep dive on like TikTok and how it promotes little girls to shake their ass and, you know, the effect TikTok has on, you can make all of those fucking points without getting deeper into it, right? Like, what is like these clips that Charlie's describing about like little girls taking pictures of their vagina? What utility does a clip like that serve? Why do they have to get real child actors and make them do these grotesque sexual acts on camera for entertainment, for a movie? Why does that need to happen? We have to do that. We can't display this message in any other way, any other format. It must be the most raunchy, the most sexual, the most disgusting, so that you will be disgusted by it. And also, even still, look at how the movie Cuties was promoted on Netflix. Those scenes were highlighted as like the highlight of the movie. Not to like shock you, but almost to like get you, like the way that the movie was marketed, at least in America, it was as if it was being made literally for pedophiles. Now, maybe you can say, oh, well, the director had good intentions, but the marketing team were the real pedos. But if you're giving them material to make that sick shit off of, that's bad. Like no matter how you look at this, it's bad. Elo Man with the 5. TikTok shows you videos based on what you've liked previously. So if they're showing Sneako little kids dancing, well, okay, but look, TikTok I have a TikTok account. It shows me fucking cancer. Now I will say, when I go on TikTok, I don't think I've ever seen an underage girl twerking before, because that seems nuts, but I don't doubt that it happens. I'm sure it does. I don't doubt Sneako when he says the app is sick, but I'm also like, okay, well, if you agree with that, you should hate Cuties even more then. CB Applejack 59 with the 5 says, how can you trust the director? Harvey Weinstein was considered a good director too until he wasn't. Wow, maybe he'll elaborate on that.
No, again, the message is fine. There was never anything wrong with the message, and maybe the intention of the director was...
How would you tell the director to convey the message in a different way?
You would just not use children. You could deliver the same message, and you don't use children. The problem is...
I don't think it would be effective. I don't think it would be as effective. It's unfortunate that it's misinterpreted, but you couldn't be able to have that effect and show how provocative and how dangerous it is without using kids.
Why? What?
Of course, the shots probably did not need to be that bad, but when I watched that, I was absolutely disgusted. And like I said, it changed my perspective. And what I'm surprised about is that you are against wokeness, because everything that your content is about, it doesn't seem like you've ever directed any energy towards how dangerous wokeness can be, which is exactly what that movie's about. It's saying how important Islamic values are in the face of wokeness. It's about a Western African family, Islamic. They go to France, completely woke country that's now being burned alive, and women are running around topless. Wokeness has consumed France, and it's pointing out a proper solution.
Wait a minute, you're telling me this whole movie was about condemning wokeness, but Netflix promoted it? How the fuck does that make any sense? Did he ever bring that point up? Like, that's what I'm hearing. Okay, so this movie's so based in talking about how awesome Islam is, but it's promoted by the American media and Netflix? How?
Solution to this problem, which is embracing Islamic values.
Who was the director of the film? Do you know?
Her name is Maminu Doucouré. Maminu Doucouré, I think that's her name. She's a Western African woman, and she moved to France. So I imagine that she had a very similar experience, and she was trying to portray what it was like growing up.
So the message of the movie is about social media, and almost exclusively. She directed the film based on seeing some children in a neighborhood doing sexual dances and wondering, how did it get to that point? This isn't okay. So the movie was supposed to be about how does a child get to that point, and it's about how social media is poisoning them, and they're constantly comparing themselves, they're seeing these things, so they're putting on makeup and they're doing sexual shit, and they never really understand why or the consequences of it. It's not a critique on wokeness, though. Of course, anything in the art field you can derive your own meaning from. I recognize that almost everything you encounter in life you tie back to either cancellation or wokeness, but in this film in particular, this is a movie I really feel conflicts hard with your ideology. Under no circumstances should children be sexualized,
probably.
is where I stand. Do you disagree?
There's a lot of things in movies, like I don't agree with incest in Star Wars, but Star Wars has incest scenes. I don't agree
But that's
with
not
incest, but it's portrayed.
It's not real incest, though. This is real children being sexualized. It's not fake. These are
We
11.
agree. I agree. But I'm defending the point of the movie.
You can defend the
And
point of the
I'm
movie,
not-
well, but you can still condemn the movie itself. The point can stand on its own 2 feet, right? Like, there is a problem, which you recognize, with kids being sexualized, in specific on TikTok. That is a problem in and of itself. But you can still condemn this film for contributing to the thing it's supposed to speak out against, which is sexualizing children, which you have admitted it does. And it didn't need to, like you said. That is
Yeah,
the
so
problem.
maybe they shouldn't have used child actors, but I agree with the point of the movie. But how do you think that the point could have been conveyed in a better way? Do you think
Like
should they have used 18-year-olds to play 11-year-olds?
That's exactly what most movies have done for a long time. A quick example is The Last of Us using Bella Ramsey to portray a 14, 15-year-old. Like, you can do that, and that's a lot more acceptable because there is no longer a victim. Like you had said, children can't consent. These kids could never fully consent to being sexualized in this film like this on the big
I
screen.
would argue that when they use 30-year-olds and 27-year-olds to play high schoolers, like in Euphoria and like in 13 Reasons Why, it actually sexualizes kids more because we start to mature high schoolers and we think of them in a different way. People in their 30s and their late 20s get addicted to Euphoria and they have ideas and they start romanticizing teenagers in a different way because they don't use actors in that way and they make them look more mature.
That's a
What?
completely separate conversation you can make arguments for, but that doesn't work here because it sexualizes already real children, right? So I think you're getting hung up on like the what ifs and like whataboutisms on other sides, but the core doesn't change. So let me give you an example. It is realistic to use kids for the message, right? Because it's about kids. Well, what if the child was naked doing the vagina pic? If they showed the kid's vagina, is that now too far? It's still
That's
realistic.
too far. So there's 2 ways the movie could have been changed to be more effective and that people would understand the message. 1, they could have used child actors and they should not have been sexualized in that way. Or 2, they could have been 18 plus and it could have been sexualized, but then it wouldn't have been as effective. One of the 2 should have changed. I agree.
Okay, so
Dude, if you're okay, when I'm hearing this and I'm hearing him defend this movie and try to bend over backwards to defend it, he's like, well, they could have changed 2 things about the movie to make it like more effective. Okay, but first of all, those 2 concessions are massive. And second of all, you should absolutely hate this movie for making a mockery of the issues that you care so much about, right? If you want Western media to reflect the important ideals of Islam, and Cuties was the chance to do that, well, not only did it fucking fail, but it remarkably failed. Horrifically. So you should hate the movie on that basis alone. Am I wrong in saying that?
do you think there's like levels to sexualization of kids that is acceptable and then unacceptable?
No, this is never acceptable to sexualize children, but
Then we agree. So then can we then say, since this film sexualized children, I can't really champion the film. However, the message is okay. Like, I like the message.
I agree completely. But the reason I defend that movie is because I think everybody just saw those scenes and looked past the message and looked past the good moral that the director had when making it.
That could very well be the case for some people, right? 100%.
I would say most people who hate the movie haven't seen it. Most of the people accusing me of being a pedophile for defending the movie haven't seen it, have no idea what it's about. They've just seen
Well,
it.
yeah, most people that think the movie is child porn haven't seen it isn't really the strongest argument when you say it out loud, right? Obviously, if they think it's CP, basically, they're not going to see it.
Those scenes.
But they're also still not wrong for being upset about those scenes. Like, can you
I think
recognize
they
that?
should be more upset at the problem. I think people should direct that anger instead of calling me a pedophile on the internet. They should look at the system that turns these girls into sexual objects at a young age and be more angry at that. That is the real issue. That's the bigger problem at large.
They do, though. It's not mutually exclusive, like where it's one or the other.
Do they? Do you?
Do I what? Talk about the problem?
Do you direct that anger? I see you follow the narrative that's popular on social media, but I don't see you ever direct it at the problem. Do you agree that wokeness is one of the biggest problems that corrupts kids nowadays?
Oh,
Define
boy.
wokeness.
Wokeness is the liberal ideology, is feelings over facts. I identify this way because I feel like it is there's no gender, nothing matters, I do as I want, everything that's promoted on social media.
Dude, that was like the worst definition of wokeness I think I've ever heard. Bro, Sneako's like the walking stereotype of what you... Because, okay, when I hear Sneako talk, Sneako sounds like a guy I'd probably generally agree with 90%. He just words his argument. He's like the stereotypical Republican, just got red-pilled, fucking 1 month ago, and is now spouting off the most basic bitch talking points. Like, oh, do you know what wokeness is? It's basically like genders and like not, facts over feels. Ben Shapiro moment. What? This type of rhetoric and language is not effective to normies. You're not gonna... Critical hearing that is not impressed. Now it is hard to impress normies with, ideas that go against what they generally think. But when you word it in simplistic ways like that, nobody fucking cares. Oh, wow, cool, whoa, wokeness, well, it's more than two genders. I mean, yeah, I guess, maybe, you have to dumb it down to really sell your point, but this just sounds retarded.
You realize half of what you just described is how you've lived your life for the last year? Like feelings over facts, for example. You champion bullying. You think bullying needs to come back. I have never canceled you. Can you recognize that? I've actually always spoke out against deplatforming, if you've ever noticed. I spoke out against
No,
it.
but you were also disingenuous. When I called out the swordboard collage, you were like, these people just hurt my feelings. Most of those people actively advocated for my cancellation.
Nick is not green is the only person.
True. That's not true. Ethan Klein celebrated and clapped when I was banned and said, good, finally this misogynist is banned.
That's making fun. That's not him championing it. He wasn't out there leading a charge against you when it happened.
Okay, now Charlie's slipping. If you celebrate somebody getting banned, you're absolutely taking part in it. I will stand by that 1000%. If you ever celebrate, clap, pack watch, meme it up, anything like that, that's basically supporting it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, because what else? Oh, I don't support your ban. I'm just celebrating it. So you support it then, right?
Happened.
There was another one as well. Didn't they hurt my feelings? What happens on the internet, I understand. It's good to have back and forth. Bullying is good because it makes you have to develop your character in a different way. That's not why I was upset. I was upset because a lot of these people were secretly happy or secretly hoping that I was going to get banned because they disagree with my ideology.
But then why am I on that list when I've only ever spoke out against deplatforming? That seems like I'm there because I hurt your feelings.
You didn't hurt my feelings. I thought it was funny because you do look like the rest of them.
Bruh. What the fuck? I put you in there because you look like them. You have long hair. You look greasy. Soy boy bitch. You're also advocating for my ban into platforming, and you're trying to ruin my life, except not. You just look like them. Holy fuck. It's kind of funny. Okay, you know what? That's pretty funny, actually.
Don't understand how, but we're not here to get into the nitty gritty, I guess. But now that we're
a common theme with the people that have made hit piece videos on me, and you have to acknowledge that the people in that collage look very similar. Overall, and you can see it with the fresh hit videos.
You have to acknowledge this, Charlie. You look like a piece of shit, just like the rest of them. Acknowledge this. What?
Where you called Fresh a virgin. A lot of it, and you see people that hate me, they're like, oh, this alpha male, this alpha male, this alpha male Sneako. And I've never once called myself that. I don't think I'm an alpha male. I advocate towards things that are conservative. I advocate towards Islamic values. That doesn't mean that I think I am an alpha male.
I've never called you an alpha male. You're talking to someone.
You've called my friends that. You've called Fresh and Fit that, and you haven't.
They call them. You are really hung up on fighting for the honor of Fresh and Fit. What I did was exactly what you preach. I made fun of him. Calling him a virgin is a joke. Do I think he's actually a virgin? Probably not. No, I really don't.
You said there's no chance that he's had sex with 1,000 women or one woman, and then he's giving advice to lonely men and has no experience with men, when that's not the case at all. Overall, the attitude towards the people I put in the collage.
Of course, he's giving advice to lonely men. They're the ones looking for it.
Is men who actively play video games all day, who push wokeness to some degree or another, and then when somebody speaks out against that, they try to go at their character rather than go at the message that they're trying to promote.
You are so dumb, Augie. So if H3 tells his millions of followers to report you, it's the same as him selling the ban after the fact? Well, no, but they're both degenerate. Let me just put in those words for you. No, it's not the same thing, but it might as well be in my fucking brain because you've basically committed the same act. If you try to get me banned versus celebrating after the... Actually, I'll say this. Celebrating a ban after the fact is actually worse than causing the ban to happen. Because you're so much of a lazy bitch, you couldn't even put in the work to like get the person banned and fuck them up, yourself. You had to let some other scumbag do that and then hop on their fucking work and celebrate them for it, right? So you're participating in the degeneracy of celebrating, freedom of speech getting destroyed, but you're not even putting in the work. So actually, I think celebrating the ban is worse, right?
Okay.
I'll take good argument, bro.
I would like to point out a couple of things. A lot of the things you critique the woke for are ones that you actively partake in. Victimization, that's a big thing with the woke, right? Constantly playing the victim. Do you recognize how often you play the victim in terms of like, I'm being canceled, everyone's against me, you go on your Discord to talk more about it. Even this morning, talking and naming and shaming people that you think have slighted you as like a cancellation. You do the exact same things. Like you are also an SJW.
That's not victimizing, that's actively pointing out that literally every streamer, the entire internet, all of YouTube reacted to your video. I drop a response where I even apologize for going out of character and getting emotional. And then but nobody wants to see what I have to say. I've become a caricature on YouTube rather than somebody who has something to say. I've become a meme because I am banned. That's not victimizing, that's actively pointing out how strong censorship is and how people on mainstream platforms can run with the narrative when you're not there.
The way you just justified it is a way many other people that you call playing the victim would also be able to justify things. The point is, when you are constantly whining and talking about how you're being attacked, it is still being victimized. But regardless, we're getting off track. One of the things that you also talk about is the frequent posting on Twitter and like the poisoning that Twitter does on the mind, the brain rot, which is something I fully agree with. But you have over like 20,000 tweets. You are on Twitter more than pretty much anyone I know, especially like talking about, being the victim and constantly promoting things, which is something you also call out. You were upset when I made a joke about using you for merch pushes for me. But that you literally do that under every tweet you make, and you make like 20 a day, it feels like, half the time.
When did I say I was upset about the merch push?
You took a screenshot of my DMs, and you were like, here's the true face of a YouTuber, just using drama for views and ad sales, merch sales, whatever. That's not what upset me. So then what was the feeling behind posting the DM screenshot?
It's disingenuous, and now we're having a debate, but you would rather DM and go and make this about drama. Oh, let me go and react and do more drama content rather than have a conversation.
But I never did that.
Doing it now.
You have to remember that.
But he's having the conversation with you right now. What?
Start any of this. You reacted to me telling jokes about your friend, and then had your audience tell me, and that went on for like 2 weeks. And so eventually,
Also, Sneako started this entire fucking situation. You can say that about other YouTubers, that they're just hopping on fucking drama that they don't even belong in. Like, I guess you could say that about me. Not that I give a fuck, but if you wanted to, sure. But like, you started the beef with Critikal, and he's also seems pretty willing to have a convo with you. Did Critikal stream this from his end, by the way, or did he just record it? I guess he streamed it because that's how Sneako got it. Also, everyone who said that my take about celebrating banning being worse than causing it to happen or whatever, all they could say, by the way, is dumbass take, bro, with no fucking argument. So cope harder. I mean, I genuinely think that's true, though. I have much more respect for people that are willing to actually, terrorize somebody and stand behind it than people that will just like piggyback off somebody else doing some fucked up shit and be like, yeah, you did it, bro. You're banned. Fuck you. It's like, but you didn't cause my ban to happen. So you're celebrating something you didn't even affect, and also being terrible in the process. So it's like double. It's doubly worse.
And I don't like you. And then when I did that, that was the only time I planned on talking about you. You went on stream with your gun to threaten me, and you kept it up for 3 months, adding me.
I didn't do that to threaten you. That was a joke about clips. You actually think I was threatening you?
Whether or not you were
victimized, you're gonna say victimized.
Brandon Buckingham should be called out for celebrating Sneako's ban. Well, isn't that convenient? Because guess who did call him out for that? Me. So I'm consistent. And he also agrees with that criticism too, I'm pretty sure. He was just like, yeah, I just didn't like the guy. I said, fuck him. It's whatever. I'd still disagree with it, but I am consistent in this, so I don't know what else to say, bro.
You're gonna say I'm actively trying to threaten you by saying a clip joke on a stream.
I don't think you were actually coming after my life. It doesn't change the fact that for 3 months you continued to carry it on. I wasn't reacting to you. I wasn't even talking about you. But then you keep pushing it, and then you keep... I don't want to bring in my girlfriend or anything, but you did just keep going, so I talked about you again. I'm not constantly talking about you, right? I'm not farming drama off of you, but you use all of this...
You farm drama off of the people that push the exact same message, and you still haven't corrected the video that I found fresh and fit on.
But
you haven't corrected the fact that you thought that Andrew Tate was doxxed by a pizza box. Now finally he's free after not having any charges against him, without having any evidence. He was in jail for 4 months, and then people like you...
He's not free, he's on house arrest.
Narrative that he was doxxed by a pizza box. I call you out because you don't correct your mistakes. You were wrong about Fresh and Fit. You were wrong about Andrew Tate, and you were wrong about the movie Cuties.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you tied it back to Cuties, but before we get back to that, how am I feel like I'm one of the very few people on the internet who corrects himself. Whenever I make a mistake, I do go and make a clarification. For example, I got something wrong with a content creator holding a stand-up competition that was absolute dog shit, and then someone came there and made fun of him, and I didn't know full context. Once I got full context, I went back and made a follow-up video to explain it in more depth with more clarity. I always do that. With Fresh and Fit, you really hung up on this idea that he fucked 3 women that night after meeting an NBA player at a bar, and they exchanged Instagram information, and it turns out they were Eskimo bros with the same girl's pussy. Like, it's an outrageous story. Now, whether or not it's true, you haven't proved it either. Were you there watching him fuck? Were you cheering him on?
He verified it. He showed the DMs with the basketball player. They did the whole podcast verifying the story.
The DMs.
You didn't correct it. Okay, so you didn't correct that. They did verify the story. You didn't correct it.
Did they have the basketball player? Did they have the basketball player and the 3 girls he fucked come on and be like, oh my god, he absolutely plowed the shit out of me. It was the best sex of my life. Did he have?
That would never happen. But he did show the DMs with the basketball player verifying the story that he did go to the party. Whether or not you want to believe he was with 3 women, I wasn't there either. I guess we're never gonna know. But he did get
Bro, what are we debating? Critikal called this guy Fresh and Fit like a virgin in his video. Just an obvious fucking insult, right? And we have to prove that he had sex with 3 girls like he claims. Like, who cares about any of this shit? Seriously? This is gay.
the DMs from the basketball player. You were insinuating in that story that he never even met him and that whole thing was made up and that it's not possible on Instagram. You also didn't correct yourself on Andrew Tate getting doxxed with the pizza box.
But I also never
apologizing.
Whoa. I don't know if you even watched the video because I did say the claims were of a pizza box, which was backed by like early onset news. I never said for sure. I talked about how that would be extremely entertaining if that was the case. When I cover something like that, for example, Justin Roiland, I'm sure you followed that. He was recently found innocent on all of the like domestic abuse charges. I always said if these charges are true, and then I'll make jokes about if like these crazy things like the pizza box are true. But I never fully say like this is a true fact. So the pizza box thing being completely fake was never something that I really truly believed in my heart was real or reported on it as a very real thing.
That story about Andrew Tate with the pizza box was so retarded, by the way. Anyone that even gave that story credence, including Charlie, I'm a little bit surprised because, you know, he was obviously in his Romanian studio. You didn't need to see the pizza box to know he was in Romania from that video alone. Like, anyone that remembers what his studio looks like, which has been seen like fucking billions of times on TikTok, could tell, oh, he's in Romania instead of where else does he usually go? Dubai?
Just played with the fun idea if it was because of how silly and outrageous it is. And
why
now
is that fun? Why is it, go back to that point. Why is it fun that two men who have no charges or no evidence against them went to jail? But tell me what's the fun idea about two men being falsely imprisoned?
The fun idea is they're falsely imprisoned based on a pizza box. It's playing around with the pizza box, not them being in jail.
That's a fun idea to you? That's a fun idea that two men, and this is a problem that we should both be aware of, and that men should be aware of, that you can go to jail without any evidence or charges, that the entire internet can lie about you and think it's funny.
You are finding weird ways of taking a fact and running in an opposite direction. The humor is if right now, Sneako, the authorities busted in and said, Charlie, we noticed your first edition Pokemon card behind you is fraudulent. That's a crime. You're going to jail. You would probably laugh because it's so outrageous and silly. Just like being doxxed by a pizza box leading to prison time is outrageous and silly.
Don't be disingenuous. That's not why you think that's funny. There's the internet and people like you that I put in the Soulboy collage dislike Andrew Tate from the start because of what he talks about, because he comes off arrogant. I'm top G, I'm the alpha male, and people get triggered because they're in their room, they're playing games, and everything he talks about goes against what they're about. So when he goes to jail falsely, people find it fun because finally the guy that goes against everything I believe in is in jail and can't talk anymore. It's not fun because it's like this goofy story. People like you were genuinely happy that they went to jail.
I don't recall celebrating or pumping my fist. Last night I was even talking about it. I'm not out there celebrating, you know, lighting the streets on fire and joy. What do you think I stand for, Sneako?
I have no idea what you stand for.
Then
I've
why do
watched
you
your videos. I don't know what your beliefs are. It's not clear. It's not clear, and I think that now, seeing what's happening to Andrew and Tristan Tate and what's happening to men who push the ideas that I push, I think it should be very clear for everybody watching that you watch a content creator that has a specific ideology. I've watched you like in high school and college, and it's like drama content, you're covering stuff in the news. I have no clue what your belief system is. I've seen your music videos with the Antichrist, and you're smoking weed, and you play a lot of video games, and you kind of, like, there's a lot of other commentary channels, you look at the header, it says, we talk about stuff. And I have no idea what position they're coming from because it's not in your best interest to have a point of view. It's better to just cover drama and make AdSense money off of it. If you have a specific ideology that goes against what social media pushes, look where I am. I'm on Rumble, nobody watches your video, and everyone piles on you.
So there's a very big difference. The content you used to make, I wasn't super familiar, but I went back and looked. You used to make thought-provoking, more artsy pieces, and then you transitioned more into lecturing and life advice. The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like Cuties. We'll tie it back to Cuties. When I saw that film and the way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized because...
Okay, I have a genuine question for my chat listening to this, right? Do you guys care if the YouTubers that you watch, like, you know, stand by a specific message? Because when I hear Sneako say that, what I hear is you haven't attached yourself to, like, a set of ideas that, you know, basically lock you into one specific perspective, so that now your content must all be self-righteous. You must exist to be some greater person that you're realistically never going to be. But you have these ideologies you attach yourself to that sort of like blanket and mask like your lack of just real world difference. Because look, I think YouTubers, like, and the content that we make, I think it has entertainment value. People obviously like entertainment. They want entertainment. That's why they watch. And that has value inherently, right? That's where it ends. But a lot of YouTubers aren't satisfied about that. And we see this happen all the fucking time. This is a phenomenon I've been talking about on After Hours for fucking years now. How many of you guys remember when we were talking about how every YouTuber, you know, if you look at their bios, they didn't want to say, oh, I'm a YouTuber, I make YouTube videos. It's actually, oh no, I'm a comedian. Actually, I'm a boxer. Well, actually, I'm a rapper. Well, actually, I design clothes. It's like anything but to say what they really do, which is make videos and make content. That's all I want. If I'm watching a YouTuber, especially nowadays, like, yeah, I want content. I don't want anything other than what I signed up for, which is videos. But people don't feel satisfied there. They can't just live making videos and live making content. They have to be a rapper or a fucking designer or you know, they got to fucking really take things up to another level. But in reality, they're, you know, if you look at like designing or rapping or boxing or whatever, there's plenty of professionals that focus on that and are way fucking better than your YouTuber that may or may not even genuinely care about that shit, may or may not even be looking at it from an artistic perspective. And it's really more looking at it from a sense of, oh, fuck, I need validation. When I go to Thanksgiving dinner, my family asks me what I do, and I say I make Minecraft videos or I play Crash Bandicoot and talk about drama in the background. Oh, I don't want to say that. I want to say, oh, I'm a broadcaster. I basically do fucking internet radio. I'm cool. And it's like, who cares, dude? Why do you need to be cool? Does that really matter? So when I listen to this debate between, to bring it back to Sneako and Charlie, yeah, Sneako's saying, what do you stand for? And that's cool and all, but when I hear that, I'm like, ugh, what? Fuck off. I don't want you to stand for, I want very few people to stand for stuff. I want people that I genuinely think have interesting thoughts or maybe value beyond entertainment to stand for stuff. But for the most part, listen, if people realized their limitations and were fully aware and comfortable in their own limitations, that would be so much fucking better. Because it would be trying to do something they can't fucking do. That's just my thoughts, though.
You have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider to be child porn. So I would give my perspective on that. This is gross, and here's why. And then I'd list out some of the absolutely repulsive scenes, like the children watching porn or like cam sites, twerking, being filmed twerking, all of it with real children. That's a real problem. When I'm covering goofy shit like Gwyneth Paltrow being sued for a ski accident, do I need to tie it back into like the woke agenda or something in order for you to get my perspective? I don't think so. It should just be about entertainment. That's always like the core.
It should be about entertainment. There should be some value that you're adding to your audience. And the reason I criticize you for that is because...
Yes, the value you're adding to your audience is entertainment. That's all you need. Why do they need anything else? You know, your audience is doing... Hopefully they're doing shit. You know? Hopefully they have their own fucking jobs and relationships or whatever, and they just want to tune into your content every so often to just fucking entertain them. What do I need? You know? If you want to be something greater, sure, give it your best shot. But why does everyone have to do that?
Like everybody else who hates that movie, they didn't even watch it. You didn't finish the movie. And we both agree. Sexualization of children is bad, but we already agree on this point. That movie had a way to point that out. Obviously, it was bad, but I agree with the morality of it. But I think that's a problem, and I think that your audience should pressure you into have a more specific point of view rather than just saying fun things. You can be funny and still have a point of view. It's getting harder for men out there, and you see it. They go to jail, and people laugh about it. It's getting harder for men to survive in this climate now.
And I have made content on that. It's content I see that you haven't seen. I had a whole stream dedicated to talking about why so many men are lonely now and turning to things like you offer them with a creativity kit. You think one of my big problems with Andrew Tate was...
The creativity kit has nothing to do with being lonely. The creativity kit is about making money online. There's no loneliness.
That's still... that is, in my eyes, selling courses, giving people advice that isn't guaranteed to work like that is exploitative and taking advantage of desperate people. You can have a different point of view.
That's kind of a soy take from Charlie. I'm not going to lie. I don't know about that. Like, what? See, okay, this is where... You want to know why Andrew Tate and Sneako get fans? You want to know why? There's one of the dumbest arguments you can make against Andrew Tate is this. It sounds like this. Why would you listen to Andrew Tate? Why would you need another man to give you guidance? Fuck you, right? Which is the dumbest. That's like a woman tier dumbass fucking argument. That does not make any fucking sense whatsoever. Obviously, people want and need guidance, and they're going to listen to whatever the fuck gives them that, right? Everybody looks for that. Now, usually, you would look for that from, you know, your friends or your family or people close to you or something like that. But not everyone fucking has that, right? So they're going to look for guidance somewhere. So saying like, oh, fuck you listen to another man, isn't that gay? It's like, that's not a strong argument. That means nothing. Everybody listens to people. No shit. Attack who they're listening to if you want to, but to say, oh, you listen to things? That's bad. That's an incredibly unintelligent argument. Which is what I'm basically hearing from fucking Charlie here. It's like, oh, you're creative. You make content for lonely men? Fuck you. Well, why is that bad? Why is making content for lonely people inherently bad? I don't get it. If it's because it's a scam, that's a different argument. Why is making content for like just on the basis of like, because there are lonely men and there are men that need guidance. Why is filling that void that is necessary bad? That's the argument that I don't understand. Because it exploits them? How? Again, if it's about being a scam, that's a separate argument. You're not saying that though. When you say making content for lonely men is bad, you're not saying because it's a scam. That's an additive that you add to that. You're just saying on the basis, if you make content for young men, that's bad. What? All they talk about is dropshipping shit. That's not true. They talk about way more than that. But why is dropshipping even bad? Even that makes no sense. That's where I feel like the supposed soy boys or whatever lack. When they make these dumbass arguments of like, why do you care, bro? It's like, okay, well, that's why Sneako and Andrew Tate get popular, because obviously people care. That's not the fucking point. The point is that, you know, that, and then that's when you would criticize their actual advice. But just saying flat out like, oh, your advice, if you give advice to people, you're bad. That's not compelling. Yes, let me pay $50 per month for very basic advice I can get everywhere. Rare Augie L. Well, then you're attacking it for being overpriced then. Again, every argument you guys are making is separate from the issue. You're completely getting away from this. It's overpriced. It's a scam. That's not what I'm talking about. The chat is triggered. Yeah, chat seems really fucking triggered today, but I'm fucking for it, dude, because I believe in my shit, and I know what I'm saying is true, but I'm curious. Like, why is that bad? Give me a fucking... If you're going to disagree with me, bounce something off of me, you know? This is just the opposite side of SJW. It's just as radical, just that instead of being carried by the algo. Okay. I'm not gaslighting shit. You guys are the ones gaslighting me! I'm going nuts! No. Why is that bad? I don't know, I'm just checking chat or whatever.
It's fine. One of the big problems I had with Tate was his business, Hustlers University, charging $50 a month to be part of a Discord server where you're not really getting the tools to succeed. I've seen what goes on in there. It's mainly like people just talking at each other. He doesn't really participate. The lessons aren't overly helpful. It's very generic advice that you could find for free on YouTube. So it's charging this high price.
Of course you can find it for free, but having it reinforced by somebody that you look.
By the way, chat, to everyone that's mad right now, you're listening to me speak, so you're listening to another man, so you're gay. That's right. Owned.
It's an extremely important thing. And if you think that you're exploiting somebody by charging them $50 a month, there are a lot of case studies in the creativity kit where people have become extremely successful from the information that they found in there. Call it advocating towards lonely men. People have met there and moved to Florida, and then now they built businesses together, meeting in the creativity kit, finding like-minded.
Oh, is that the argument that they have? That if you sell a course and then someone fails the course, they got scammed or exploited? Is that what the argument is? Because if that's what we're talking about, that's also a horrible fucking argument. Why don't you go into what does his course even sell? Nobody even talks about that, right? I don't know what the creativity kit even sells, so I can't even like defend or attack it because people just shut it down by saying you sell a course, that's bad. Okay, well that doesn't really tell me anything, does it?
People. What's more important than exploiting somebody's money and what you're glossing over is exploiting somebody's time. Time is money. And if people are investing their time into watching drama content, fun stuff, let me laugh at someone falsely in prison, they're wasting their energy watching you game for 12 hours, that is a bigger waste of lonely men's time. They're not getting any value from watching you game for 12 hours. They are getting value from paying $50 a month and learning the secrets from somebody who's been doing this for 10 years. What's a better use of your energy? $50 on a course from vetted millionaires or watching a game streamer for 6 hours every night?
Well, he didn't use the course to get rich. He's getting rich from the course, the same way that the course that you're selling is not like your main way that you made money. You are making money from that course now, as opposed to what the course is teaching. But again, this is getting completely sidetracked.
That's just not true. That's not my main source of income. I enjoy doing it, and it's a great way to have a network. And you talk about all the lonely men that are out there. What are you doing to go and help these people? We understand that there's a problem with loneliness of men. People get in there, they ask me questions about how do I network better? How do I find people who are like-minded? You give them advice, and you can see them transform their life. I'm curious as to what you think is a better alternative, because game, you stream.
Creativity kit shows you how to make YouTube videos? Okay, well, I'm gonna be real. That does sound bad. Because with the creativity kit, right? If you have to ask somebody how to become successful on YouTube, if we're talking specifically about analytics, numbers, algorithm, you're probably fucked because just by having to ask that, You know, YouTube is something you have to kind of feel or be into. It's very hard to learn. But just selling a course for young men to advance or whatever on the surface, that's not bad. And I don't even know if Sneako's course is fucking bad. It sounds bad to me because I just know, like, with YouTube, so many people will be like, oh, how do I start a channel? And they'll Google advice, and the advice is like the worst fucking shit in the world. But then again, Sneako did build 2 channels with 1 million subs in like a year, so he's got to know something. It just depends if his information is good or not. I ain't paying for that shit. But yeah. Thank you. You finally got it through your thick skull. No, Cameron. You just understood that my argument goes a little bit deeper than just, what? This is bad. Duh. It's because when you explain stuff and you give context and you look into it and you look into the nuances and shit, it's a little bit more complicated than just being, this guy filled a course? That's bad. Because that's what your argument is. And your argument is retarded. So... no, it's not that I'm getting it. It's that it's a little bit more fucking complicated than just pointing to shit and saying bad. That's not how that fucking works. Put a little bit of fucking brain cells into it, all right? XYZ with the $20. The only person at fault for buying advice is the buyer. Yeah, I mean, well, okay, if they're selling a scam, like if they're giving you shit advice and they're overcharging it, or if the advice is a lie, or if it's a scam, or if you're not getting what you paid for, these are all fine arguments, and I would agree with that. But that's not what you guys are saying.
Streaming for 6 hours, is that a better solution to men who are lonely watching you play video games, or giving advice to men who don't know how to find a community of like-minded people who don't know how to make money online and want to live a lifestyle where, look, I'm in Japan. You're still in the same room that I've seen you in since high school.
I can go places. I choose not to. I'm happy here the same way you're happy traveling in Japan. Like, these are non-arguments that you're making. It's the same argument
I've never seen you outside of your room. And I don't know how many years I've seen you on YouTube. I've never seen you out of your room. I've seen you...
Dude, what the fuck? I've never seen you go outside your house. Holy shit. Sneako's best talent is that he'll interject all these weird fucking arguments in the middle of like jokes, but he'll say it with the same exact like tone. So it completely throws me off when I listen to this shit, right? Sneako's like, well, you don't go outside. You've never gone outside in the last 10 years of your life. What? That's fucking hilarious, bro. Now watch this, all right? I'm back to shitting on Sneako. So now everyone in the chat that was saying, you're wrong, you're gay, now they're all going to laugh and say LOL, right? Because it goes both ways.
With those in your room throwing it at each other and your friends. I've never seen you travel. I've never seen you network with other people. I've never seen you show your audience what's possible if they make money as well. I've seen you play video games since like 2016.
In one of the clips you showed of me, I am outside at Gasparilla with my girlfriend. What are you talking about?
At what?
Gasparilla is like Mardi Gras, but for Florida. Like, you have literally shown me outside. I don't know why you're trying to make this case that I'm never outside.
You stepped outside in Florida. I've never seen you go to different countries. I've never seen you network with successful men. I've never seen you around a group of men who are on the same page. That's it. The purpose is showing our audience what's possible. A lot of people are tired in this lifestyle. We talk about lonely men. The number one problem that lonely men have is watching porn, is playing video games and getting addicted to this stuff. That's what's contributing to loneliness more than providing them an avenue to go and elevate themselves. That is the biggest contributor. People who don't know how to live life, how to go outside, how to meet different people, would find a comfort zone in their room playing video games and watching porn.
It's impressive how you tie everything back to porn now.
Oh, dude, what in the fuck? So we're 30 minutes into the debate, and at this point, we've drifted off into fucking retard land, you know? Because I will say this, all right? I'm trying to be as fair and objective as possible while I listen to this, because I'm not simply... It's not interesting to me to just make content where it's like, popular thing bad, whatever the correct take is good, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm going to give it a little bit of fairness here, even if I think Sneako is generally, I mean, he's shown himself to be, in my opinion, kind of a piece of shit, obviously. So, you know, Charlie, he was making some arguments there that was kind of losing me, but now we're just in fucking total retard land. What the fuck is going on here? What is Leafy posting? He's just fucking high as fuck on Twitter.
That
Moist admitted he's afraid of flying. That's funny.
you're talking about things that are agreeable. And this is what I've said about Andrew Tate. He doesn't always say silly, dumb shit, but he does. And he couples it with good, real things. Like you mentioned, porn addiction is a problem. Like no one's going to disagree with that. But everything that you're sprinkling in outside of it is totally fucking irrelevant to the rest of it, man. You going and flexing on your audience isn't showing them what's possible. It's showing what's possible when they're paying for your lifestyle. The advice you give, you thrive off them staying miserable, right? The second they get happy, the second they get money,
No,
the second
I definitely don't.
they will not be paying for your course
if
anymore.
If my audience does not get value from my content, they're going to leave. The reality is that streamers and content creators like you, the audience always grows up. They watch a little of the gaming content, then they grow up. They're not learning anything, and so they go to another content creator. They go to somebody else who's popular or trendy. You need to add value to the audience, or else they are going to grow out of it.
And the value of
Well, yeah, that's great, but Critical's also been making content for like 15 plus years, and he's like the biggest one now. So it seems like it's going pretty well for him, I guess.
most things entertainment. What you used to do was humor interlaced with your stuff. Now it's just preaching to the choir of people that already subscribe to your hive mind. You're still doing the same thing.
That's what you see on Twitter, because that's the only mainstream platform that I'm still allowed to be on. If you watch my stream,
I have watched your
in a couple
streams.
weeks. When I watch my stream for 4 hours, it's not preaching. A lot of it's humor. My motto is seek truth through funny.
Which
I
you've
look at what's
abandoned.
going on in the world.
It seems you've completely abandoned that. I have watched your streams. I have. A lot of it devolves into just talking again about the same things you always mention. Soy boys, bots, woke mind virus, and then dancing around. And then always trying to defend and find the other side of something controversial. It's the same formula over and over again because that's how you found to keep your audience hooked. It's no different than
That's
people
not true. I go on Omegle and I'm joking around for an hour, 2 hours. I bring on my viewers and we joke to each other. I bring on people, real life people, they sit next to me and we joke around. I have different podcasts. I have different guests.
The jokes
I just did a podcast with Ryan Dawson, uncovering Epstein and uncovering the truth about 9/11, which I really recommend that you go see. I have different types of content. You're trying to box it in because maybe that's what you see on Twitter, and it's probably the result of why nobody even watched my rebuttal, because they don't feel the need to go onto Rumble and a different website. They're stuck into this pattern of watching content that's suitable for YouTube and the trending page. If they go and they would look out of it and they watch my stream, there's a reason I have an audience and I was able to survive the cancellation, because I do add humor. I do add value. People want to see that. They see something in my stream that brought them onto a website that's alternative. How many YouTubers could have survived that? How many YouTubers could have survived a big tech cancellation to an alternative platform that's labeled as an alt-right conspiracy
All right,
website?
but to be fair, Sneako got banned like 6 months ago. Just because he's doing fine now doesn't mean he's fucking survived yet. I mean, we'll see. And I generally root for people to survive when they're fucking banned from everything because it's an unfair ban in the first place. But like,
And still maintain the same audience. You can't do that by repeating
it
the same
just
thing.
sounds like he's just preaching like fucking bullshit right now. It sounds like I'm listening to him advertise his course, to be honest with you.
every day. You have to add some value.
But you can. That's the number one grift right now. As long as you are contributing to an echo chamber, the people will not leave you. You form a reliance where they're constantly suckling your tit for validation that their point of view is the right one. And the more that you claim the victim, the more that solidifies and cements them that belief is the correct one because people are attacking
That's absolutely not true at all. I've been talking about the woke mind bias for a long time, and now my audience wants to get to know the truth, so I've been interviewing different people. I did a whole podcast uncovering Epstein and who's actually on the client list, because that's one big conspiracy theory that people want to know more about. I did an entire podcast uncovering 9/11 and the Iraq War and what happened and why war is created by deception. I'm getting into more things because if you get repetitive, they're going to leave. Trust me. You can't do the same thing over and over again. They will get bored. They're not going to stay. If they just watch me yell bot, nobody would enjoy that. Nobody would like that.
This must have been a change over the last month or something, because I have watched a good chunk of those streams. I have. And it has been the same topics repeated the entire duration. Like, it's not like I blindly have hated you. I went out of my way to find redeeming qualities about you. But you have become, in the same way you think people were, plagued by the woke mind virus, you have become plagued by the exact opposite, where you try and find every possible way of being controversial, even though I don't think you believe half of it. I really don't. I think
I have a very clear point of view. What do you think that I've said that I don't believe in?
So we'll use our beef, for example. You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was...
Here we go. Here we go. So now we're getting to a topic that's a little bit more interesting, because we've heard him talk about the woke mind virus and well, not really the cutie stuff. That was interesting as well. But now we're getting into Brandon Buckingham, which is so fucking curious. Last time he spoke on Brandon, he announced, surprisingly, that Brandon sued him for emotional distress. Now, Brandon claimed that, because obviously Sneako's argument was, how could I fight this guy? He's suing me. Now, Brandon claims that that's the lawsuit would have nothing to do with the fight whatsoever, and also that Sneako knew about this fight for a while and only brought it up as an excuse recently, whereas before he said he just didn't want to give him attention because he's a clout chaser. The lawsuit apparently goes back to last September. It's ancient news now. So Brandon's whole argument is basically that, Sneako's lying when he says this as an excuse. He's known about this for a while. Why didn't he bring this up back then? So I'm curious to see what we have now. What is he going to say?
My beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do? Wouldn't you want to prove that you stand...
The first fight that I want to take would be against somebody, one, who has more clout than me, two, I disagree with ideologically. I don't disagree with him ideologically at all.
But he says the same things I say about you.
This person has been obsessed for a long time. He's suing me for emotional distress. Personally, I don't care about this person, and there's no benefit for me to take my first fight with this person.
So then
if
your beliefs.
somebody I challenge. The reason I was banned on Twitter for challenging Hasanabi to a fight, one, because a lot of people want to see that. He's well known. He disagrees with me completely. There's a lot of tension for that fight. If I fought you, you have said a lot of things that are very negative about me. There's beef in the air, and you talk a lot about me, so things that you probably wouldn't say to my face. It would be an entertaining fight.
But that's
his whole argument that Brandon's like obsessed with him just comes off as like a cope too, because like Brandon's only been talking about him because Sneako refuses to address it. When you refuse to talk about something that people want to hear, I mean, they're just going to bring it up more.
Again, that's not the point. The whole point is you think I am weak and you keep harping on this for not taking up on the fight. But you won't take someone up on a fight that's saying the exact same things I am. So it seems like the beliefs, you don't stand by that strongly if you're not confident you can make a spectacle.
Charlie, we both know you wouldn't accept the fight.
Right, I've made that very clear.
We both know. Even when I challenge you, we both know. It's to point out that a lot of people talk a lot of talk online and they never have to face the consequences because they say that was to point it out. Men are tired of seeing this back and forth internet drama. They want to see people go and settle it. I've never said a word about this person that you're bringing up. I haven't said a word about him since last summer. I won't say his name publicly again. I'm being sued for emotional distress. I'm leaving that alone. I have no problem with this person. We have gone back and forth.
Really? You have no problem with them? That's just not true. What?
Going back and forth on Twitter. People want to see it. People are tired of these keyboard warriors going back and forth. That was to point out the fact that men should not feel so comfortable talking a lot of talk on Twitter.
Okay, Charlie just kind of destroyed him there. I mean, come on now. How can you bring up that point, but then right after saying you're not going to fight this other guy? What? Yeah, people do want to see beef settled. So settle the beef.
You made claims of Brandon Buckingham being like a rapist and shit. Wouldn't that be something that you'd want to fight about at that point? Like,
yes.
That was not a claim that I made.
I can't remember the specifics of it, but you did talk.
Dude, one thing that I love about Critikal, that I will say this, he is big enough, and he also listens. He does listen to a lot of commentary channels, so he brings up, every so often, he'll bring up the exact point that I want somebody with his size and his clout to say. And when he says it, it's like, yes, finally, someone who's big actually saying the same shit that I want to fucking hear. Yes.
Toss out the word rapist when talking about Brandon Buckingham. I don't remember the context it was used in, but you did mention it, right? So why is all of a sudden that now beneath you? Like, you don't have any problems with him now after he's willing to fight. The point is, you're talking about, you say these things and you don't have consequences. Well, what about you? You said these things. He's trying to give you those consequences that you think are so important, and you won't take him up on it. There is a clear hypocrisy.
That was a different example. The guy was a previous fan. It's a giant misunderstanding. There's a lawsuit involved, so I can't talk about this too much, but that is not what I accuse him of. I do not think he is that word. I never said that about him, and that's a lie. He wants to do it because there's an obsession going on, but that's irrelevant.
Well, it's all tying back into the point I'm making, where the things that you preach against, you yourself embody.
Okay.
I don't see how.
Why is Sneako? Here's another question, right? Why is Sneako allowed to be obsessed with Hassan or Ethan Klein or any of these people, but Brandon's not allowed to obsess about him? What's the fucking difference? You think that Ethan and Hassan promote something that's detrimental to your values. Brandon thinks that you said something fucked up about him that was detrimental to his entire image online. Isn't that the same thing? What's the fucking difference here?
You have all of these spins for it, but do you recognize that's not actually justification? For example, you like the message of Cuties, but you also admit that it literally sexualizes children, which you agree is a bad thing, and that there's no sexualization of children, that it should be acceptable, but you still champion it. So the things that you like actively talk about, like hating and all that, you are still championing for. Sensitivity.
I champion good intentions. I do not think that you have good intentions with your videos. I think that you said it as debate. You like to entertain. You say what's fun, what's trendy. If somebody gets falsely imprisoned, you think it's funny because it's a pizza box. I agree with the intentions that the director had making Cuties. She wanted to point out the wokeness. If people have good intentions, I will defend them. I don't think that you have any specific point of view on the world, so I challenge your beliefs. That's what's more important than what's said and what's taken out of context every single day.
You haven't challenged any of my beliefs, though. Most of this has just been an attack on me or my girlfriend, which started all of this. You're not challenging beliefs, Sneako. You're stuck in your own echo chamber.
I challenge your belief of you gaming all day and criticizing
what's that belief?
Value to my audience by teaching them how to make money online.
Your belief of gaming all day. Here's the other thing that I have a question for from Sneako. Does Critikal really have a gaming addiction? Or does he just stream himself playing games as a part of his job to entertain? Like, when did Critikal... I don't think he has enough time to have a gaming addiction. That guy uploads like 5 times a fucking day. Right?
Well, you suck up their time while they watch you play video games and you add no value to their life.
You also suck up their time, though.
Entertainment and how there's no need to have entertainment and how it's just supposed to be fun. I challenge the ideas that YouTubers can sit there and talk and do commentary videos every single day without any specific point of view. All of that goes against everything that I talk about.
I'm very confused on a lot of this. You don't like sports, right? Because sports is a waste of time. Watching sports is a waste of time, right?
No, I don't watch sports.
Well, but more than that, you think people that watch sports, they're not getting any value added to their life. You think it's wasting their time.
There is a better use of people's time. Of course, you can watch a game once in a while, but that is a waste of their time. It's getting harder to go and succeed nowadays. You should be investing your time in something else. But you said yourself, let me ask you this question. What are your beliefs? What are they? I don't know them. Can you tell me what you believe in?
Yeah, I feel like I've made my beliefs very clear. I am very firmly on the side of there are certain things, and it's going to be different for everyone, that make people happy. And main thing I want is for people to be happy. I don't like that men are alone, which is why a lot of the advice I give is telling them to get out of their comfort zone and start with something like the gym. The gym is a very social environment. It's an environment where everyone's working towards similar goals. You immediately surround yourself with like-minded people, and maybe you make a connection at the gym. Maybe you can find a friend there, but even if you don't, you are out of your comfort zone in an environment where people are working for a similar goal. And that already changes your mindset as a person. You've given yourself a goal, you are acting on it, and now you're surrounded by people that are also in a similar boat. I think most importantly is I want people to be happy, and a lot of times they can't find that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with escapism, like watching someone play a game or even playing games yourself. Watching a sport, playing a sport yourself is also great. I play pickup basketball every Thursday. Getting out, talking outside of a comfort zone instead of sitting online making 20,000 tweets on the Sneako Twitter, I think is not productive.
Is this really what YouTubers have to do from Sneako's POV? It's like tell their audience to go outside, right? Like Sneako if Sneako watched my content, is that what he'd want me to do? Is like, all right, guys, hold on. Let's do a Sneako stream, all right? Yo! What's going on, guys? It's the Red Pill Show. What's going on, guys? Yo, just got back from the fucking gym. Let's fucking go. You guys hit the gym? You guys go outside? What the fuck you doing, guys? Let's fucking go. It's like, dude, do I have to do that every fucking show? Do I have to tell you guys to go out fucking side? Really? You should be inside watching me. What the fuck? Right?
Replying to Sneako's Twitter, replying to my Twitter, none of it I think is productive. I've had Twitter since 2012. I've made 2,600 tweets, and half of those are just shit posts or a retweet. I think all of that, locking yourself inside as a recluse, living in this completely toxic landscape like Twitter, is the most detrimental thing for a person, and that extends to TikTok as well. I think TikTok has absolutely ruined people's brains in terms of what they can even stomach as an attention span. Having to have like Subway Surfer underneath a video of someone talking because you can't focus long enough, I think it's...
Looking at this community, you probably have to. That's a decent point. However, I will say this. This is my perspective on my community, all right? You guys want to hear my fucking thoughts? My community is fucking deranged, okay? It is full of fucking... I mean, it's full of cool people, of course, and also creative people. There's cool people here, like Mike the Bike. He makes his great music and stuff. We got a bunch of the artists that draw shit, visualize these awesome moments from the show. All that shit's great. But let's be honest here. There's also a lot of fucking insane freaks. You know what I mean? There's people getting groomed. There's like just people who are complete losers. People are tweeting video. You want to know a picture of what my community is? This. This is my fucking community. All right. This is like insane. So that being said, I'm not fucking doomer about that. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at that and thinking, holy shit. These young men, these young men that are watching me suck. They're fucking losers. They're pathetic. They're just complete coomers, soy boy, fucking degenerate, fucking losers. Because they are. Let's be honest here. However, I just fucking take it for what it is. You know, my perspective is like, yeah, everyone here is deranged and crazy. That's funnier for me though. Because when I wake up every morning and I enthusiastically check my feed for what retarded shit happened on Twitter last night that I missed, I love to see like, oh, this guy is a retard. This guy got caught talking to this person on Discord. This guy said this crazy shit. Here's Jalen and Call screaming, calling Spondyle a fucking N-word. Here's Tipster's ex-fucking mod whore and her child, you know, screaming racial slurs at people and stuff like that. Here's this kid that is sexting fucking 12-year-olds and shit like that, right? I'm just like, okay, the world's retarded. The world's gay and autistic. But that's fucking hilarious, you know? It's just the comedy in that is not lost in me. And that's also crazy. But it's like, I can sit here and cry about like how everybody around me is like a deranged freak. Or I can just laugh at it and, you know, seek truth through the funny. Right? Add Nick. Is Nick on?
Problem. So the things I talk about are usually geared towards either entertaining people for 8 minutes a day or whatever.
Medicarism. Well, look, I'm not fully on board with like the Medicarism is like, I'm just laughing online. I do agree, you know, content should be a little bit more interesting than just laughing online. But in general, that whole approach of like not taking things too seriously, at least on the internet, I generally agree with, because I just hate this pretentious attitude of you've got to change the world. You got to make it a better place. You need to worry about your legacy online and help people and stuff like that. Sure, if you want to do that, great. Why the fuck do I have to, right? I'm just here to fucking put on a show, dude. The world sucks. We all agree with that. But what am I supposed to do about that? Sit here and tell you guys to go to the gym? Go to the fucking gym. But who's also going to take that seriously coming from me at the same time, right? Like, who's going to look at me? Imagine if I came on here and preached masculine values every day. Who the fuck is going to take that seriously or get value from that? I mean, I guess it'd be cool if they did, but let's just be honest here, boys. Like, let's just acknowledge reality.
Or during a stream if they're already home from work and just need to unwind, I think all of that is fine. But I do always try and give some level of advice. My background, I don't know if you know, I'm a human science graduate with a concentration in exercise physiology. I believe very firmly in the mind-body connection in terms of strength building and muscle building. It's going to change your whole brain chemistry, and it will help improve the way you're looking at the world. So that's one of the big things I talk about, is even if you're 100% comfortable with your body, there is no reason not to at least try to make these kind of differences and change your perspective on things. Like, it doesn't even have to be a body issue. It helps your mind overall. I am always against...
Wait, what is this? Imagine if all these freaks were in the same room. What the fuck? Why is that George Soros? What? Who the fuck is that at the bottom? Yo, what the fuck? Yeah, see this image right here, chat? This is an accurate representation of my community. So, you think I want to inspire any of these people? No! Fuck them all!
Against people paying for advice from so-called gurus and professionals, because you don't need it. The beauty of the internet is...
That's Brock Turner on the bottom? Oh, no. All right. I'm not, you know what? I'm getting another coffee. 1 second, boys. Yo. Okay. Wait. I want to fucking see it. I saw the guy who just tweets random pictures of people and then got really mad on Twitter and tried to like draw connections to what they're actually saying. I'm totally ripping the bit. What is going on here? Bro. George Soros. I can't believe I said that. Anyway. I'm like, who the fuck is this old looking guy? Listen, I've been watching a lot of Mouthy Buddha recently, so, you know. Anyway.
An unlimited repository of all of the human knowledge, just this compendium of every piece of information for every subject you could want. And you can access it for free. Under no circumstances do I ever advocate for someone paying up to $50 a month for advice they can freely find right now, even if it doesn't come with a built-in...
Gamers always have the argument, but then they never talk about how college is a waste of time and that people go into $50,000 to $100,000 in debt from people who aren't vetted millionaires. If you could pay $50 and talk to a vetted millionaire who has made money online in a way that they don't teach in school, $50 is a steal. People get really upset about this because you're paying somebody directly and you know who you're spending the money on. You don't get upset about college because you don't know the principal, you don't know the headmaster, you don't know the donors. They're nameless people behind a university. So the point of the network is collection of information concentrated in one place, and also the network of people that you can find. Right here, I'm in Japan traveling with somebody that I met from the Creativity Kit. That's something that is invaluable and that you will only find by paying $50, which is not a huge price.
That is a big price, but also, do you see what just happened there?
$50 is a huge price. That's the same price as your merch that you're using to advertise on this drama. With you,
okay, kind of got him there a little bit. Yo, hey yo. Oh yeah. Okay.
Your audience pay $50 for a t-shirt from a gamer, or they meet somebody that they can go start a business with.
that the merch isn't $50 for a t-shirt, but regardless, what
Oh, okay, never mind.
that is what happened there. I was
I think
talking.
it is.
Okay, it's still not. But what just happened there is I was talking about something, and you went into PR speak and salesman mode to talk about your course, and you attributed.
That's so real, though. He does sound like he's really trying to fucking sell you right now. Like, it does not sound like he's talking about his course genuinely here. It sounds like he's doing a pitch. He's trying to sign up all of Critical's viewers to it or some shit like that.
To me that I actually talk against. I actually have spoken many times about why college just isn't right for everybody. It's not. It simply isn't. I think college provides an invaluable social experience where for the first time in your life you're on your own, so you learn how to fend for yourself, you learn how to interact with roommates, strangers, so you get social skills, but college is not going to
Also, okay, I know I'm pausing the video every 2 fucking seconds, but I don't want to just be a react streamer here. I want to actually interject my own opinions here. I will say this. Sneako is doing a lot of assuming here. Because he opens up the conversation saying, you stand for nothing, you promote gaming and porn, you're fucked up, I'm trying to make the world a better place, you don't care, so you're a bad person here, right? But then if you notice, when they actually get into the specifics of this whole situation, it seems like Critikal actually does have takes. He does stand by his opinions, and his thoughts are a little bit more complicated than what Sneako's like introducing them as. It's just kind of funny, right? Because it just seems like a whole lot of like cope. Like the way that, you know, because a lot of like liberals or whatever, liberal-leaning YouTubers, they'll dismiss everything Sneako and Tate say as, you know, you're just promoting an agenda, you're just repeating talking points without actually getting into what they're saying. But then Sneako's doing the same thing to the left by saying, oh, well, you don't fucking stand for anything. And it's like, well, he does. You're just kind of using that as an easy way to dismiss him as like, oh, this guy's a fucking lazy loser who you shouldn't listen to for anything, but I'm better.
for everyone, especially when it comes to certain academia positions, especially like in some art fields. I actually talk a lot about that, but you keep lumping me in with this perception of a gamer and these beliefs that you don't know anything about me on, and yet you still put me in there.
Then you should probably make it more clear.
I do.
I've been personally watching your videos for years, and I had no idea about any of this.
So,
I've seen you gaming. I've seen you react to drama content. I didn't know that was your method to make people happy, which I think is a narrow way of answering that question about what you believe in and what your belief system is.
I was still
but that's
going.
fine. And I'm glad that you said that, and I think that you should reiterate that more in your video to add more value.
When have you ever heard Critikal talk about the stuff he's talking about here? I don't fucking listen to Critikal regularly. That guy puts out like 5 fucking videos a day, and I'm trying to get on that same level. So I'm not listening to Critikal, but also it's pretty easy to diminish like how many videos does Critikal have on his channel? Probably like thousands, right? It's pretty easy to diminish all of his work and say, well, you don't talk about this. It's like the dude has 5,000 videos on his channel? How do you know he hasn't talked about any of these topics, let alone his Twitch channel where he streams every day for like 5 hours? The guy puts out 6 hours of content a day at least? I'm sure he's talked about a ton of shit, right? You can't just assume that, oh, you don't cover this because I haven't seen the video. Well, you just didn't see the video. He might have talked about it. Cats a Flock in 5. I think you have it pretty good audience-wise. We're nowhere near as repulsive as Pokemon's Coomers or Flamenco's Gremlins. Oh yeah, I'm fucking shit-talking or whatever. I'm joking. But also, who the fuck cares if your audience isn't like... I don't need my audience to be a bunch of like ripped like fucking... I don't know. What do I need my audience to be? A bunch of ripped like Aryan Chads to fight off the race war and for Team RFC? Like, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I hope you guys understand that. This is a much more laid back program than I guess Sneako would like it to be. I don't know.
More value to your audience.
So you said you've watched for a long time. These aren't secrets. I made a video 6 years ago. I just double checked. I uploaded a video 6 years ago called "You're Getting Fucked by College Textbooks." The entire video is about how college textbooks in particular are a massive scam and a very predatory system that universities are using. I do talk about these things. You are just not seeing them and then still putting words in my mouth. My beliefs, I think, are very clear to the people that watch. They're not a secret. They're not hidden. I make them very obvious. But we're so sidetracked now because you're trying to look for angles to throw me into these camps that I just don't fit in order to make it seem like you're morally superior.
In your belief, because you criticize me for tweeting I have 20,000 tweets, but like you have a high and mighty 2,000. You've been making videos every single day for 6 years. You're pretty much shitposting on YouTube as much as I am on Twitter, which is my only mainstream platform. To say that I didn't know what your belief system is, that's not a critique on me because I've seen many of your videos. That's a problem of your content. And the beliefs that you just conveyed here, it does not show in your content whatsoever. I'm re-angling my whole content to make exactly what I want for my audience to be specifically clear. That's why I'm traveling. That's why I'm showing myself training every single day. The message that's conveyed in your videos is play video games for 8 hours. That's what it looks like. You're in the same room. You have. That's
the message Critikal promotes. Play video games for 8 hours. Bro. Dude, I'm going to start calling these like Sneakoisms. I love Sneakoisms. when he makes a point that sounds equally as serious as all of his other points, but it sounds like that. Like, all you promote is playing video games for 8 hours. Like, Critical's hearing this and going like, what the fuck? How do I respond to that? Sneako-tisms.
Gaming posters around. That's what you do.
Yo, Frenchie's fried with the 5. Whoa, Augie. Augie needs me. I'm Augie's top guy. I'm going to bat for you, Augie. Yeah, that's... You know what? All right. We're relaunching the membership program. Listen, I get a lot of shit for how I treat my members, all right? But fear not. We're relaunching the members program. RFC University. Okay? It's coming out soon. We're going to raise an army of strong young men. And we're going to do everything Sneako tells you. We're going to get you connected to billionaires, amazing people. We're going to learn how to market. It'll be amazing, all right? RFC Premium will now be an instructional, educational course.
That's what people know you for. Do you think that people know you for how to be happy, or do people know you as the guy who plays Super Smash Bros? Genuinely, what do you think the perception that people have of you is?
The guy that plays Super Smash Bros. That's not a good reputation to have. Holy fuck.
Certainly not Smash Bros, since I don't play it. I don't understand the point you're trying to make. I would imagine people look at me as just a channel of wild nonsense, just goofy shit. For example, I started a fucking wrestling league where it's all about the most over-the-top stupid fucking wrestlers fighting with ridiculous storylines and silly production. Like, this whole thing, you really want to laser focus on me playing video games as if it's some kind of huge blemish on my credibility or reputation. Again, it's not, but it's also super weird because it's not the only thing I do. In fact, if you went to my channel right now, I think there's only 3 gaming-related videos over the last month. It's not like all I talk about is gaming and everyone needs to be gaming all hours of the day. There's nothing wrong with unwinding after a day of work with watching a Twitch stream, or, you know, you used to stream a lot. Do you think everyone that went to you is wasting their time? Because, again, the streams I watched, you're repeating the same points. To me, that's not adding value. That's just already cementing and preaching to the choir. That doesn't seem like adding value. Were they wasting their time?
I have a specific point of view. I make my point of view of the world clear, but I cover political content. I talk about the vaccine. I talk about what happened on January 6th. I cover current events every single day. I give people.
That's the main thing you criticize me for, is covering current events, though. Like, you're talking about that.
You
don't
don't
cover
current events.
I cover everything that's silly.
You cover WWE, like you just said. You cover drama content that you see on Twitter. You're not talking about January 6th. You're not talking about the fact that Pfizer was exposed for gain of function on the vaccine. You're not talking about what's really going on, what they censor on YouTube. You're talking about wrestling.
Uh-oh.
One of your main... You didn't even know about wrestling until just now, where I made a wrestling thing, not talking about it, but one of your critiques was talking about drama.
Wrestling adds nothing to people's lives. You know what adds something to people's lives? Learning the vaccine probably isn't as safe as effective as they market it as. What's also adding value to people's lives.
Yo, did Critical's listening to this? Like, I mean, he's got him there, right? Critical, he's true. He is right. Critical did not cover the vaccine. And I actually agree with Sneako on this one.
Learning that they rigged the election against Donald Trump because look at the footage that they hid about January 6th. Now I'm going to change who I vote for in the next election. Now I'm not going to trust the people that I see on mainstream news. I'm not going to be glued to the screen that's feeding me lies because look at what they were hiding. That's adding real value to people's lives because that changes their...
All right, what is Critical going to say to this one? How is he going to... How is he going to respond to this one?
Perspective on the media that they consume.
And it's parroting the same points.
Covering wrestling content makes people brain. It feeds more into the nonsense. It keeps them more plugged in. Watching 7 hours of video games because you stream like how many days a week after work? That does not make them any better. All that does is dumb them down even more and prevent them from making money online and traveling the world because they're too dumb and slow watching you play video games.
And you think they're not dumb and slow watching you parrot the same things that are already being talked about by millions of others on Twitter? It's not a unique perspective.
They are absolutely not. I have so many case studies of people who I've showed that they're in the gym because I post gym stories every single day. They have networked on the Creativity Kit. They started an online business. They started their own channel. They learned how to make e-commerce. They learned how to actually market. They learned some valuable skills. You don't learn anything from wrestling content.
You don't learn anything from watching you dance around listening to fucking whatever that Nazi song was with a yay jacket. Like, your content is not that unique either. You're parroting similar points that they already believe in, Sneako. You keep trying to separate yourself as like above it all by actually adding value.
I go and I dance and I wear the Ye24 jacket because their perception of Ye is exactly what people like you promote, that this guy's a crazy person. He's on meds. He's crazy. When he's actually promoting is Christian values, is to unplug from this thing too, is to be awake.
But you are more plugged in than anyone I know. You are more plugged in than anyone I've talked to. Like, you are actually just more plugged in than anyone.
What am I plugged into? What am I plugged? You're plugged into what's on Twitter, wrestling, gaming.
You are plugged into anything that is controversial.
Dude, Critical's worst mistake in this entire debate was admitting to the wrestling channel. Sneako's brought that shit up like 5 times now. Like, you're into wrestling? Fuck you. Oh, man. This debate. Okay, well, to recap here. So now this debate has shifted into all kinds of different directions. We're talking about Kanye, the vaccine, Jan 6, and Critikal. It is all of this is true. Critikal has definitely promoted the perception that Ye is crazy. I support Ye. So how is Critikal going to respond to this?
You're talking on Twitter more than anybody else. You are constantly keeping people locked into your echo chamber. You're constantly promoting your creativity kit where they have to meet each other through that as opposed to real life. I'm preaching real life interaction. You're preaching internet interaction.
That's the opposite of real life.
Well, Sneako just talked about how, no, you will meet these people in real life. Whether or not that's true or not, he did say, like, no.
If you're playing video games and you're in the same
That's
room,
not,
that
I'm
is
not telling
real
him.
life. I am in real life right now, traveling the world and talking to people. This is the real world. You playing video games is the opposite of the real world. Your perception of me only promoting controversy is because the truth is controversial. The truth is censored. And everything that you're going to see on YouTube is exactly the narrative that they want you to believe in. It's not controversial. I have a very specific ideology. I've explained it here, and you've not pointed out one thing that means that I'm just trying to attach myself to controversy.
I feel like I have. Example, Cuties, again. You are preaching for a movie that you agree has horrible things that are unforgivable in it, but you still say it's your favorite film or an extremely important one. That's a problem. That is you attaching yourself to controversy.
I've explained that I defend the intention of the movie. The intentions are good. The intention is Ye right all the time?
Who the fuck cares about the intentions, though? If the movie causes like children to be sexualized and is promoting that and is being used by people for that purpose, who the fuck cares if the intentions are good? Yeah, nice. You had a pretty thought in your head. But what actually happened? If the thing that happened is horrible, why the fuck would I care if the thought in your head was cool? Yeah, a lot of ideas on paper sound nice. But then you look at them and it's like, what the fuck?
Is Ye sometimes sound erratic? Yes. Does he have good intentions for the world? Yes. People think it's controversial because they get drowned into the clickbait. It's like with Cuties. They see the clickbait, they think it's terrible, they see a clip of Ye, they think he's crazy, when in reality they have good intentions and it gets drowned in from the noise on social media. It's not controversial, it's just true.
You can find good intentions in anything. Literally anything, though. Not everyone's going to be a cartoonishly evil person. They're going to have some good things they say. So why don't you defend everybody?
That's the point. What I've realized in this is that you should make those intentions more clear. Because I had no idea about how to be. I knew that you play video games, you reacted to what's popular, wrestling stuff, and you try to like, people if they're tired after work, they can go watch me game. That's what I know you for. I think that you should make that more clear. I make that specifically clear in all my streams, and you think it's repetitive because I want people to know exactly what I believe in. It's not controversial for clickbait. I have a specific worldview.
The worldview that you have is one that contradicts with what you put out online. Like I said, do you think that you don't victimize yourself? Like 100%, like mask off. Do you think that you go out through your day and you don't feel like at all hours, oh man, everyone's against me? Because one of your friends reached out to me after all this just to kind of talk about concern for your mental health.
Oh no. Oh no. What is going on now? What?
I don't know how true it is, but you apparently read Reddit comments and pretty much any kind of Twitter discourse around you. That is literally taking this plugged-in mentality.
I don't know who you talk to. I never go on Reddit, and I tweet a lot because that's my mainstream platform. I don't read the replies like that. I don't obsess over that. Why do you think I'm outside every day? Why do you think that I don't have the time to do that? I'm extremely focused on what my mission is and spreading the word of positivity and spreading it, trying to awaken people from this brainwashing. I don't obsessively read over this at all. If I was, I'd be in the same room playing video games. That's absolutely not true.
Okay.
Do I look like a person that reads Reddit comments?
Yes, Sneako, because you reply to them all the time. Like you fight these boogeymen.
Comments?
Yeah, in your streams, yes, you're pointing out like these fucking obscure things all the time that have got under your skin. You were talking about face fucking someone that made a joke about you one time. You were talking about beating D'Angelo Wallace's ass because he mentioned you one time. Like you
I mean,
are plugged in more than anybody else. You see everything.
Okay. You see how you're doing the same thing that you did with Cuties and what people do with Ye? I was making jokes about D'Angelo Wallace because he was canceling people for going to parties during COVID. Because he went on this whole moral high ground brigade about how much of a better person he is because other people weren't quarantining and he was quarantined. He went viral for shitting on people and canceling people, saying people should, like Bryce Hall should go to jail because he went to a party. So I made jokes back at him. If you're going to get on your moral high ground, somebody should go bring you down too.
But you're doing that now too.
Whoa. Holy shit. If you're on that moral high ground, somebody should bring you down. Holy shit, dude. Could you imagine in like a year from now that actually happens? Sneako is the one to bring Critikal down and expose them for his years of peddling nonsense and porn or something to children. Could you imagine?
Where you're putting yourself above everyone else because you're outside and I'm playing video games and what you're doing is real value.
I'm absolutely not above anybody.
But that's how you're acting. That's what you're saying.
I'm absolutely not above anybody. I think that going outside, traveling the world, meeting different people is a better lifestyle than sitting in the room playing video games. Do I think that I'm better than anybody? Absolutely not. I've never said that, and that's a false misconception that people like you get when they see this content because like,
that's what you're saying to me. Do you know how many times you pointed out me being in my room playing video games?
It's not me better than you. It's that I would rather travel the world. I would rather make money online. I would rather unplug myself than sit in.
What? Okay, hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Now Sneako's being dishonest. Because if it was about would you rather, then he wouldn't care if Critikal promotes nothing in his videos. His whole point to this debate is you stand for nothing, you promote nothing. But I don't care. I mean, I just would rather live this lifestyle, and I would rather everybody else live this lifestyle. and you don't promote it, so that's a problem. These two arguments are not compatible.
In my room and play video games for 7 hours a night. That is a better lifestyle. Does that make me a better person? Absolutely not.
You're saying you keep using the word
No,
better.
the implication is obviously that does make you a better person. Why the fuck would you care so much if it didn't make you a better person? You obviously are saying that. That's your argument. Your argument is that going outside, traveling the world, whatever the fuck, touching tips of billionaires or whatever is better. Not millionaires. You know, that's a better use of your time. Sure. But you're not saying I would rather do that. You're saying everybody must do. Young men all around the world must do this. And I'm going to help them get to there.
That is putting them head to head as what you're doing is a better decision. Thus, you're living a better life and morally superior.
I know I'm just explaining Charlie's points before him, but what can I say? I like the sound of my voice.
Because this is better than that.
That's not true. You seem like you might be happy with your life. I'm not trying to rate your happiness. Ultimately, the point of life is to live the happiest possible. What I do know is that what makes men lonely is gaming addiction, is watching porn.
Any addiction, yes.
Is being plugged into social media and doom scrolling and reacting to drama. That's what I know makes men upset. So I would rather promote a lifestyle. What's happier for me is traveling the world, being in Japan, doing what I want to do, unplugging myself from these things, and meeting different people. That is what I know is a better lifestyle to promote for men, and how I became happier, how I got out of depression, and how I stopped smoking weed all the time.
Okay. And everything you just said is exactly things that I'm trying to navigate this in a way that's not going to spin you into like PR speak. Everything you said is things that people don't need to pay for. Your lifestyle is whatever makes you happiest, right? You said at the end of the day you want everyone to be the happiest and live the happiest life they can, right? Is that your goal? Is that your mission?
Yes, that's what we agree on, and that's what we should focus on doing for our audience.
So then why then do you shit on certain lifestyles that you think are worse than yours? Gaming. Why do you think that if someone is happy gaming for, you keep saying 7 hours, which is an outrageous amount, but we'll use it. If someone is happy gaming for 7 hours, why shit on them for it?
Well, okay. We can all acknowledge that gaming for 7 hours a day is a waste of time. Everybody knows that, but
people aren't happy gaming for 7 hours maybe once in a while, but continuously gaming 7 hours a night, that is not a happy lifestyle for anybody.
And why do you think you're promoting positivity then? So saying things like racism brings people together.
There's much more to life. I know that there's much...
Dude! Okay, hold on. The tweet, I need to pull this up because this is the tweet that Charlie's referencing. Where is it? At a certain level, racism actually brings people together, which is a take that I could agree with if I bend my mind in so many different fucking ways. I cannot believe this is being brought up now onto this debate. This is like an autismo fucking argument.
More to life than playing video games for 7 hours. Video games, that's an escape.
I agree, Jesus. No one, let me make it clear. Video game addiction is not a good thing. I am not a video game addict. Streaming games.
You also agree that video games are an escape?
Video games what?
Are video games an escape?
Yeah, as is watching sports, watching movies. All of it is entertainment.
Why is Grand Theft Auto so fun?
Because it's a well-designed game that offers a lot to do in it. It's a big game filled with plenty of activities to do.
It's a game with a lot to do in it. The reality is there's a lot to do in the world, and it's condensed in one game. It's giving you
What the fuck, dude? Stop playing GTA. Just level up in real life, bro. Dude, if I did if I did half of the shit, if I did a 10th of the shit in real life that I do in GTA, I'd be dead in like 5 minutes.
A packaged version of what's possible if you actually experience life. People find a way to get cheap dopamine from a screen rather than experience what's outside in the world. It's too easy to get dopamine now. That's not happiness. Playing video games is not long-term happiness. That's escape. That's dopamine.
Agree, but these things you are saying, you are fighting me on points I've never made. These are points that I agree with. Video game addiction is a bad thing.
My life is like a video game. No, dude. Bro. Okay, I'm being an asshole. I will say this. I hear what he's saying. He is right. Life is like a video game. However, when you say it out loud, that just sounds fucking retarded.
Thing. If you are going home and playing games forever, you're not in a very happy place, I imagine. But if you are, I'm also not going to be upset.
You argued, can somebody be happy playing video games for 7 hours? I'm arguing that's not real happiness. That's a fix.
But it can be.
Replicating your happiness.
But it's still
dopamine. That's like smoking a cigarette. That's not experiencing what the world has to offer. That's a condensed version. That is not real.
It's not experiencing what the world has to offer, but maybe they don't want that. If your mission is
that's true. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants that in their coping, and it's too risky. They're uncomfortable. They don't want to go and risk rejection of the world. Everybody wants to experience the real world.
Maybe they do. I do. I agree. But that's not going to be the case for everyone, and I recognize that.
What the fuck does experience the world like mean? Because he keeps bringing up travel and stuff like that. Is travel even like the essence of happiness? I love travel. You know, I wish I could do it way more often, right? I love travel. But I don't really feel like my life would be necessarily like, you know, just blown the fuck up if I went to Dubai and Japan once. I mean, it'd be awesome. Maybe. I mean, Japan would be. I don't even know shit about Dubai. Sure, that might be great, but like, what these people talk about, they focus too much on specifics. They get so technical in like their lifestyles, right? Where it's like, if you play video games, you are sad, and if you travel, you will be happy. And I know that's not literally what they're saying, but that's always how it comes across when they stress so much on like specific things. You know, it's like you can live a life where you could live a life where you game every day and be productive. As long as you fucking put in enough work to then justify the amount of leisure that you spend, who cares, right? That's how I view life. It's not necessarily of like cutting out bad habits. It's like, if you're going to have bad habits, just make sure that they take up maybe like, I don't know, 2% of your day, as opposed to 98% of your day. That's like good habits and stuff like that. That's probably like, when I say bad habits, I don't necessarily mean like horrible I'm just saying like, if you like playing, let's say video games are a bad habit. Video games are a bad habit, sure. Well, if you spend like, I don't know, 10% of your day playing video games and then 90% of your day working, are you a fucking failure because you played video games for like an hour or two? Does that automatically own you?
I agree with wanting everyone to be happy, but you want them to be happy your way.
They don't have to be happy my way. I know for certain that the real world is a better life than the world that they condense in a video game.
I don't know why we're so hung up on games.
Also, I won't lie. Most of the people that I know nowadays don't even really game anymore. Maybe I'm in the minority on this, but I mean, I play games significantly less than I used to, if you compare it to how I used to play when I was a kid. And then all of my other friends, like, I don't really have a single friend right now that I know that's really into gaming. I mean, I don't know.
Games. But yes, for a lot of people, I think getting outside of gaming is going to be helpful, but that doesn't mean they need to completely stop gaming.
Games suck now. Yeah, that's the other thing. I see a lot of people bitching about how gay gaming is and about how terrible it's gotten, but I don't really like know anybody off the top of my head that plays like a fuck ton of, when I say like is a gamer, I mean like they're playing like a fuck ton of video games. I don't really know anyone that's like really grinding every day on anything.
Altogether, there's something called moderation. That goes for everything. Food addiction is life-ruining. Porn addiction is life-ruining. Gambling addiction is life-ruining. Every addiction is life-ruining. Moderation is key. Gaming addiction is life-ruining. It's all about figuring out moderation and also finding what makes you happiest, what amount of hours that is. Maybe it's more hours than somebody else, but it's finding that balance, and that's going to be different for each and every individual. Whereas you're putting a blanket on it.
This is why I don't gamble in my streams. This is why I don't promote degeneracy in my streams. This is why I only try to promote things that I know are better for people, because even though, yes, some things are good in moderation, it's getting more difficult for the lonely man out there, and it's better to be a source of positivity rather than encourage the degeneracy that's keeping everybody trapped. That's just where we disagree on. I think that you've explained it here. You want people to be happy as well, and I think that's good. And I hope that you try to reiterate that more, because genuinely, man, I had no idea.
Wait, doesn't Sneako drink on his streams? Or am I crazy? I don't want to just completely make shit up, but I feel like I saw a stream of his like the other week where he was like, I mean, he wasn't like shit-faced, but he was definitely drinking. Like, he was open about it. I don't know.
And you know exactly what my worldview is. You think it's controversial, but I make it extremely clear. I know you think it's repetitive, but I want people to know.
I don't see how your message is somehow bolstered by spamming slurs, for example, like during that stream with the gun. I couldn't listen to you because you kept saying slurs. How is that necessarily helping make people happy or positive in any way, shape, or form? What does that do to contribute to your overall goal? Because it's not humor either, so it's not seeking truth through funny. It's literally just spamming slurs because you were mad at me.
It is. The reason that it's funny is because I'm on a platform that has free speech, and you're not bound by wokeness where you can't say certain words and you're labeled racist or homophobic or transphobic, where you can say things even if you don't mean them, because we're not trapped with words.
Well, why say something you don't? Why say something you don't mean though? What does that do? Wouldn't that go against your ideology where you're like faking it?
That's not a word. A word doesn't encourage. A word doesn't encompass a whole belief system. A word can be funny. The word faggot is funny. That was the funniest thing you said in the debate.
How is that? I don't...
You're laughing now. See?
Well,
W.
It's just it's an outrageous claim. It's like talking to a child.
Well, no, my point. It's outrageous. It's funny.
Your defense of it.
First time we laughed this whole time. First time we laughed this whole thing.
This is
one little word.
Just because it's such a silly defense of it. It's like a child who hears fuck for the first time. He's like, "Woo, daddy said fuck." Like, it doesn't.
What the?
Well, it worked on you.
If you just said it without your explanation of why it's good, I probably wouldn't have laughed. The point is, and this is talking about what I was mentioning, like with the pizza box. It's so outrageous, it's humorous. Like, these things are outrageous, and that makes it humorous, which it seems like you can recognize.
Do you believe that Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent?
That I don't know. They could be, and I've said that from the start.
You don't have a belief on that?
Well, because I don't have the evidence. They've been charged twice with the human trafficking, but none of the evidence.
You don't just talk out of your gut 24/7. You have no beliefs.
You didn't look at all the victims and their allegations and how everything was exposed on WhatsApp, how they plan to make a Netflix movie out of this. All that was online. I think.
But then,
if you cover current events, this is something you jump onto the pizza box, but you don't take the time to go and look at all the evidence that was debunked.
That's not true, though, because
why do you spend the narrative laughing at somebody falsely in prison, but you can't go and just look at a couple screenshots and see that as garbage?
Do you see? Hold on. Before you interrupt, I would like to talk about both things. But do you see how I mentioned the pizza box being outrageous? But that one, that's like a slur to you, me mentioning that. That one, you stopped laughing the second I mentioned it, even though it's the same principle that you were talking about. It's outrageous. It's silly. It's stupid, right? That's what makes it humorous. In the same way you were defending the slurs. But that one's a little too far. Like, you have these weird lines where it doesn't really make sense.
That's not a good argument, because you're laughing at two people who actually went
I'm
to jail.
laughing at the pizza box. I don't recall.
You're laughing at the pizza box putting two people in jail because of what you saw on Twitter. When I say the word faggot or I say a slur, it's just a funny word to say. There's no consequences for that. Nobody goes to jail falsely.
That's not true. People have gone to jail for saying slurs, which I don't agree with, the censorship of speech. But we're talking about something totally different.
Me saying that right now, that's
right. But in me saying the pizza box thing right now, that shouldn't be a problem. It is outrageous and it is silly. But let me get back to what you were mentioning. I have looked at the evidence from both sides. I always do. I don't just go to these tribes and just assume everything on my side is right and everything on that side is wrong. I take information from all angles in order to find where I personally sit on this perspective, on this situation. So, for the Tate brothers, being charged twice with human trafficking, while there is some shady shit from the victims, there is still real merit to some of the things that people were talking about, such as something you talked about as well, the taking of the passports from some of the women and getting there under the guise that they would be able to date them. Those are very odd, very peculiar things. So it's not like it's just, oh, all of that's wrong and we have to disregard all of it because this is here. There is, on both sides here, evidence that makes it a very complicated case, which is why it's gone on for so long, right? It's not one where I know the answer. They could be innocent, they could be guilty. I do think it's weird they've now been charged twice. There is some very odd things there, because that's not exactly a light thing to come after someone for, and there is things that you have talked about.
It's wrong that people can go to jail for 4 months without any evidence of charges?
And even outside of the Tates, I've said that in this country, where you can go to jail on suspicion of things without ever being charged. It's a problem. Yes, it is a problem.
Okay. I didn't see that video. I saw the video laughing about the pizza box putting in jail. Did you make a video about that?
Yes, and I talked. Well, it's in that video where I say I don't know if he's guilty. I don't like if there's real victims here. Like, I would never celebrate someone being a human trafficker because there's victims. I wouldn't celebrate him being a human trafficker. That means there are real victims there. Even though I disagree with, like, his Hustlers University and a lot of the dumb shit he says, I wouldn't want him to be a human trafficker. That means there are real victims being in terrible situations. I did say that, and I don't know if he's guilty. I don't know if he's innocent. Nobody does right now, except for them and whatever's going on in Romania. The joking about a pizza box is things I make about anything that has craziness.
Even on this point, like, I hear what Sneako's saying, but I feel like you just picked like a shitty example. Because, like, the thing is, Sneako's basically saying, like, okay, you promote the general idea that Tate is bad, and I have a problem with that because there's no evidence that Tate is bad, so therefore I don't like what you promote. Whereas Charlie's saying, well, no, if you watch my video, I'm giving a more nuanced take. I'm saying that if, you know, the evidence that's presented is true, that of Tate being bad, then he's bad, and if he's innocent, then he's good. And Sneako's like, well, fuck you, pick a side. You stand for nothing. You just pick the easiest position possible. It's like Sneako's basically insulting Charlie in the same way that the internet insults Boogie, where they're like, Boogie never stands for anything. He won't pick a side. But this is just like rot from both sides. It's like, yeah, I understand the argument, like, you don't pick a side, but what else are we supposed to do? Just shoot from the fucking hip? When we don't even care about specific issues anyway? Like, I'm just supposed to just go, is he innocent or is he guilty? Well, fuck it. Whatever side I'm on, then I'll just promote the values of said side. If I'm on the red pill side, then I'm completely innocent. And if I'm on, you know, if I'm a liberal, then I say that he sucks. But then also centrism is gay too. It's all just gay. And that's my take. It's all gay. No, I'm just kidding. My take's a little bit more complicated than that. But I don't know, man. I see where their arguments come from, but I can't really disagree with anything Critical's saying. I get the critique, but it just kind of sounds retarded.
Like the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. There's so much silliness there that I talk about, but at the end of the day, I don't know who's innocent or guilty. I'm joking about the goofiness of things that have come up. Right?
Yeah, I gotta get going. It's getting a little hectic out here.
Okay, well, I guess kind of to tie it all back to the whole crux of it, I feel like I've got to know you a lot better now. I do still think a lot of the things that you talk about aren't things that I'm convinced you're 100% believing yourself, because they run counter to the way that you live your life. So that's
like sweet.
Well, no, not just the tweet. The constant victimization, the sensitivity to jokes where I feel like you of all people should be embracing the people dunking on you because it shows that people are more willing to insult and make jokes about people, which is something you're a big
Oh
proponent
yeah,
of.
that's not true. Both Me Canyon videos, I reacted to the Me Canyon video
Well, no, Sneako's point is that it's all one-sided.
and I was laughing. I have a good sense of humor. It's the people advocating for my cancellation,
Which I never
diving
did.
into my ass and trying to be as a bad. It's not the jokes that I'm upset about. Charlie, you can admit that there are dozens and dozens of documentaries about me trying to make me look like a terrible person, people trying to call me a misogynist. That's the things, the false accusations that I'm upset about. It has nothing to do with the jokes. I don't care.
So the way I look at those documentaries is an extension of that fact, right? So taking your worst moments and making fun of you for it, like Willie Mack's videos, for example. I don't see those as cancellation.
Oh, boy.
I think maybe it's this lens that you have because, again, you were the victim of deplatforming. That did happen, right? That did happen. I recognize that. And I've always said I don't agree with
I'm
that.
a victim of deforming, but also I'm victimizing myself for pointing it out.
No, you're victimizing yourself when people are just making jokes about you, not advocating for your deplatforming or cancellation, just making jokes about you. That is not the same. You got deplatformed. That sucks. People making fun of you is not comparable.
People have the video with the title, Sneako is a terrible person. That's not a joke. Sneako is a...
What? You're gonna cry about people calling you a bad person? Who the fuck cares? Right? And also, if the soy boys are calling you bad people, isn't that good for you? Doesn't that prove your point? Like, look at how the soy boys lash out when I expose their worldviews. They, call me a bad person. Who the fuck cares actually that they think that you're a shitty person? And also, you have done shitty things.
But Sneako deserves to be banned. Sneako is a misogynist. Sneako is racist. They've written articles about me calling me racist when I joined the A24 campaign. That's not jokes. That's trying to make me look like a bad person.
But you can-
you're acting like
you can call those out.
Like, Sneako's funny. Like, okay, there's one thing like, Sneako's a cuck. That's funny, fine. Okay, made a mistake. Sneako, horrible person. Sneako is a racist. That's not a joke.
So you can call, but you realize you can do two different things there. You can call
Well,
that out.
that's different though. Calling him racist is like slandering him. You're saying that he thinks like other people are like subhuman. Just saying he's a bad person is that. I understand he's drawing a line, but this doesn't make sense, bro.
being bad actors and you disagree and then you give your point on why you're not racist. But then you can still turn around and recognize that half the people on your collage, your fucking strip, aren't advocating for your cancellation. They are insulting you. Like there's two different layers. There are people that are saying you're racist, you're misogynist, and if you disagree, then you can fight them on it, and it's not jokes. Then at that point, it's a debate to be had. But then
Yeah, I do agree. Half of them want canceled, the other half were just making jokes, but you all look the same, so I put you in a collage.
I just don't see how we looked at the same, but that's not here to fight you on
A
your
lot of people
perspective.
disagree, but
I haven't seen anyone agree. I don't know where you're seeing the agreement outside of.
I agree with you. I think this conversation was good. I got to know more about what you stand for and your belief system. I didn't know what it was, and I have watched your videos for years, man. I used to like enjoy your content, and then I'm one of the people that just grew out of it because I didn't see exactly what value you're adding to my life. And what bothered me is the fact that you were lying about Fresh and Fit, and that's how I heard about him, and that upset me. Realistically, because it's like, look at the way that people who are telling the truth get painted as. They get painted as.
Who cares if you get called racist? We have random people calling you racist. Obviously, people are going to form their own opinions of you, whatever the fuck they want. But the media calling them racist, I would argue, is like fucked up because they're doing it. The reason why the media calling you racist is fucked is, first of all, they have institutional power. And second of all, their motivations for doing it are all like political bullshit. Like the reason why they call Sneako racist is because he's willing to talk to like people that are on the fringe. It's a guilt by association tactic. What the fuck? You can criticize Sneako for saying a lot of things, right? But what the fuck has he ever said that's racist? They just make that up for it's like funded political motivation. So when he calls that stuff out, that's all music to my ears. Yes, call out the media, expose what they're doing. I mean, you're not the first, nor will you be the last to do it, and you won't be the most profound to do it. But sure, tell everyone why the media sucks. Obviously, people still need to fucking hear it. Because for some reason, like, the internet always goes through, like, the internet's always, like, shifting back and forth. It's a pendulum swing, right? In 2017, everybody knew the media lies and sucks and is, paid to promote specific values and silence others. But then in 2019, everyone became a socialist. But now in 2022 and 2023, half the internet is on Andrew Tate's nuts and the other half is gay. So now, it's just like the discourse is always just polluted. People got to be reminded of the same shit we learned like 5-6 years ago.
These incel, virgin, loser, racist, misogynist, they try to box you in instead of tell the truth about you because I think that they don't like what you're talking about. But I would like for us to have another conversation in the future. I like that you have a good message about how people should be happy. I like that you're advocating for the gym and you're playing basketball and you're telling people to get out of their comfort zone. I think that those are all really good things. And I do think that you're funny. I can't deny about that. Like, it's a little monotone, but you're a funny guy.
I do appreciate the conversation. One more thing you mentioned there that I do want to point out, the boxing of people. That's something I try not to do, and I feel like I've done a good job of not doing that, but that is something you do, right? You box me in as woke and spreading these kind of things, and all kinds of other people, you box them in on certain things that make no sense. Like, boxing in is something that you also do. Do you disagree?
Okay, but you can decide. You can see people's ideologies. Everybody I put in the swordboard collage. What do you think they think about Tate? What do you think they think about Fresh and Fit? What do you think they think about Trump? You probably have the same point of view.
But it's still boxing them in, which is what
Yeah, but one of the people that he put in the soy boy collage was like Turkey Tom. You know, are all Tom's opinions blue pilled and liberal?
you were calling out. Like, for example, you had
not
the same.
accurate?
Is what not accurate?
Everybody in that swordboard collage who has advocated for my cancellation or slandered me or insulted me, made jokes about me, they all also dislike Tate. They all also dislike Fresh and Fit. They all also think that Trump is racist.
I don't presume to know people's belief, and I don't really talk to anyone on the collage, so I don't really know. But the point is, you can make the same argument for you, right? If people are boxing you in as a racist, you do say things that do and lend themselves to being construed as racist, right? So,
okay, racist?
Would you fit on a racist collage? Probably. Like, how do you
It all comes down to intention. It all comes down to intention. And
Okay.
these people that the people that
What has Sneako said that's racist? I mean, you could say, oh, sexist, you know, misogynist or something like that. Racist? I mean, he does talk to people that are race realists, but who the fuck cares who he talks to? What has he said?
that I put in the collage, their intentions are to bring down.
He said race mixing is bad. Oh, yeah, I think he did say that. I mean, I don't really fucking care, but
That's the common theme I see from all of them. Oh, alpha male Sneako, alpha male Fresh and Fit. It comes from a place of cope and of jealousy because they see people who are living a lifestyle opposite of them, and instead of admitting that there's a different path or admitting that they could have a good point, they try to bring down their character. That's the common theme I see with these people. So the intentions that I see from these people in the collage, they're not pure, they're not good. It's jealousy and it's hate.
And again, that is still something they could say about you as well. That's just one of the things
That's
I was.
fair, and that's fair, and that's why you made me realize that I need to. This whole hate brigade on Sneako in the recent weeks. I'm going to repurpose my message now. I'm not going to. What up, man? Yo, do you know Moist Critical?
oh
Hey,
no.
Say what's up to him now. We're saying hi. Yeah.
Hey.
look.
Oh, I follow you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Hey.
Traveling the world right now.
Cool, man. See Moist Kenny's video?
Yeah, we saw me. What did you think of the Me Canyon video?
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, what's up, man?
It was
Hey, how's it
fun.
going,
We
man?
laughed about it.
Cool.
Hey, Charlie. We squashed the beef.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I've been actually
That's
funny.
We squashed the beef.
Man, what's
Hey.
up? I'm looking forward to. Good luck, Charlie.
Hey, thank you.
I probably.
Do you have a Valorant what?
You have like two very famous streamers. I thought I saw you in the club. That's funny.
Where's Ludwig?
I don't know what Love's doing.
I think that's a good way to end it on. Hope we can talk again in the future. I don't think we should have beef. And yeah, you did. I want to thank you for starting that whole Sneako hate brigade because it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am guilty of doing the same things that I am mad about, and I do attribute a lot of that to being canceled and a lot of resentment about that. But I just have to spread positivity now and not engage in the same type of behavior that I criticize. Yeah, you're right about that. So I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna go attack mode anymore. I don't think that there's any value to that. It's just gonna come back to me.
Well, I actually really appreciate the conversation, man. It's nice to hear like a more human side of you outside of like, you know, what I see on Twitter or Rumble. I actually do think this was a very valuable conversation, so I really appreciate you taking the time to have a bit of a call with me about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. And mags, not clips.
Yeah, from now on, bro, if you're gonna be talking about guns, get the terminology right. You very much offended me with that one.
All right, take it easy, bro.
You too, bro.
Lol. Okay. Well, that was an interesting conversation. Honestly, I will say this. Critikal did a lot better than I was expecting him to do. I don't think Critikal's like a retard by any stretch of the imagination. I wasn't really expecting that debate. I thought it was going to be more of a joke, but they seemed to take it pretty fucking seriously. I mean, here's the deal. This is what I'll say about Sneako, right? A lot of the shit that he says and talks about, you know, I agree with, right? And it's just very basic shit. Like I don't know, like his whole views on the world and how men need to be more masculine. You know, obviously going to the gym is a positive thing to do. All that basic shit, I agree with. I think it's true. And you know, the liberal mindset and the lifestyle that they promote, probably not the fucking best for your mental health, if I'm just being honest. And by that, I just mean indulging in vices, basically. If all you do is sit around on your ass and eat junk food and jerk off and play video games all day and you have no ambition and you go on the internet, whatever. We all know that's true, though. Like, inherently. If you deny that, you're just fucking living in a coped reality, right? The problem with Sneako isn't that, like, his basic views are, like, crazy, because they're really not. They're pretty basic. The problem with Sneako is that just the way that he turns every single person against him as part of the woke mob. This is what people criticize Tate for doing a lot, right? It's like the whole idea of the Matrix has sort of created like an easy scapegoat where anytime anyone is called out, oh, well, your motivations are fucked, so therefore anything that you say that's critical of me, therefore comes from a naturally dishonest place, so I can just dismiss everything you're saying by just pointing out that, oh, you're a liberal, or you have these predispositions about me. And when you say stuff like that, 50% of the time, he's right. And then 50% of the time, he's wrong. When he says all that stuff about, like, Nick is not green, I agree with that. Nick is not green promotes cancel culture. He actively promotes for people to get banned. He's scum of the earth. Nick is not green should be banned because he's disgusting. But Critikal or Willie Mack or Turkey Tom, these aren't the same people that Sneako is talking about when he lumps them all into the group. A lot of the people in the Soy Boy collage, yeah, they're fucking horrible. I have been calling people like that out for fucking years, right? But also a lot of the people that Sneako calls out are, you know, either my friends or people that are not coming at it from that perspective. Like, do you really think Willie Mack or Turkey Tom are there to promote the woke mind virus? Even Critikal to some extent. When I look at Critikal, I just look at him as like a normie. I don't really see him as someone that's like here specifically. Now, I'm sure he naturally is more liberal. I mean, obviously. And of course, it's no secret that he avoids talking about controversial subjects, I'm sure, like Jan 6 or the vaccine, specifically because he either agrees with the liberal narrative or he acknowledges that talking about that type of stuff on his channel is not going to put him in good standing on YouTube. You know, but so what? That's reality. You know, that's the world that we live in. Does every YouTuber have to be a freedom fighter? You know, a lot of the supposed good guys, the freedom fighters that are there saying the uncomfortable things, a lot of those people suck. And yeah, what they say on a surface level, I agree with. But if you look at, you know, these people that preach like having good morality and having good values, they're not really that great of people. And even some of the values that they preach, like they just aren't consistent on. And Sneako kind of addressed that at the end of his video, as well as the end of this debate, by saying, yeah, you're right. I have been a bit of a hypocrite, so I'm going to change. That's cool. We'll see if that's really true in like a few months or whatever, if his content changes up. But I'm not really asking for him to change his content. I like the attacking style that Sneako does. I like when he fucking bullies people. I agree with his first message of like, we need to promote bullying more. I think it shakes shit up, you know? It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you creative. It keeps you challenged. It keeps your ego in check. I agree with all that type of stuff. But now Sneako's abandoning that and focusing more on spreading positivity and turning into a more positive message. All right, that's cool or whatever. That for a guy like me, though, that really wasn't my beef. My beef with Sneako was never that he's mean. You know, like who the fuck cares? I like Leafy, you know? I like that's the type of content that I really first started connecting with on YouTube. This sort of aggressive, no fucks given content that was focused more on just being outrageous and offensive and comedic and funny and not being serious. I don't want all my YouTubers to be serious people. Because all the people that are serious aren't. They're just using that to sort of promote you or sell you something. And it's also very easy to latch onto politics as like a safety net. It's a safety net for criticism. It's a safety net for content. You always have content to cover. If you are if you're like a Red Pill channel or like a fucking Hassan channel, your content, your talking points, your personality, all of that type of stuff is made for you. You understand that, right, chat? Like if I wanted to be Steven Crowder tomorrow or Hassan, all of my talking points are laid out for me. I just have to memorize them, which is very easy because they're very weak talking points. My personality is made for me. I just act like all of them. So I automatically have content to cover. If I'm Hassan, then I just make fun of conservatives. And if I'm Steven Crowder, I just make fun of, you know, the left or whatever. So all of my content is made for me. I instantly have topics to cover. My content is reliant on the news cycle, which the news cycle is constantly growing and evolving. It's not that difficult or necessarily even that brave to jump into that sort of world. A lot of the people that I see jump into that world aren't really that smart. And they lock themselves into this, into these like sets of thinking without fully understanding what they're getting themselves involved with. and then they get stuck and they don't know how to grow, they don't know how to evolve, because they're not really there for the truth or for politics or for whatever their political messaging is. They were there because it was easy. It's very easy to preach the right thing on either side. If I want to start preaching about the evils of the world from a left or right perspective, that's easy. Then what? How do I take that content to the next level? Now, Sneako said he's doing content, podcast exposing Epstein and getting deeper into the subjects he's talking about. That's all cool. And that's actually cool. I'm not even saying that to be like condescending. Like, that's based. If he's taking the time to really sharpen his craft and take this stuff as seriously as he's talking, based. But so far he hasn't. So far he's sounded like insane, hypocrite. He's been a piece of shit to everybody while crying about the same taxes happening to him. Like, he's just come across as like a massive hypocritical asshole. And he somewhat acknowledged that in the debate. So like I said, fair enough. If he's realized after getting all this hate, like, you know what, they have a point. It's time to evolve and take this to the next level. Epic. You know, that's awesome. We will see, though. As far as that, you know, the other stuff they talked about, his Cuties take I found completely retarded. I don't care about the implications. First of all, I'm sketchy of the director and whether or not they're a good person or not. But even if they are, who fucking cares about their intentions if the product they put out was sexualized, twerking 11-year-olds taking pictures of their vaginas? Sorry, the intentions were good. Really? I don't fucking care if the intentions were good. If that was what the product was. If that's the product they churned out, no thank you. Now, Sneako's whole point is like, oh, you have to see like how fucked up kids are off of TikTok. Like all the fucked up dances and sexualizing, you know, these kids are getting into at such a young age. I don't need to see that. That's why I didn't watch Cuties. I don't need to see that shit. I don't want to watch a movie that's basically just a giant fucking child porn release on Netflix. I don't need to see that to know that it's bad. You know, I don't. Oh, everyone that shit talks Cuties has never seen it. Yes, correct. Because I hate Cuties. I don't want to watch that shit. But the message is good. Well, yeah, the message. What about the execution? That's what I'm more concerned about. So I thought his Cuties take was brain dead. And then his Brandon Buckingham stuff, he obviously he really does not like Brandon. But even that's another instance of a fight that he totally started and ran from. And his insistence of calling Brandon like a clout chaser comes off weak to me too. Like as if we all aren't trying to get clout anyway. But so what? He's a clout chaser because he's mad that you called him, like you claimed that he threatened to rape your girlfriend. Obviously, he's going to be mad about that. No shit. And see, that's the thing, right? Is when I listen to Sneako debate, is Brandon like the type of guy that Sneako is talking about? Like the woke mind virus? Is Brandon Buckingham like that type of guy? Because to me, Brandon just looks like a guy that's kind of pissed off and wants to get you back for what you said about him. He's treating you the same way you treated him, although in his case, it's an act of revenge. You just randomly were like a piece of shit to him. He responded. So how can you cry about that? So yeah. That's just my thoughts. I mean, if it sounds like I'm being overly negative to Sneako, I mean, obviously, I'm generally more on Charlie's. I'm more on Sneako's side when it comes to his overall worldview. I do agree with a lot of what he says in terms of like what he promotes. But I agree with Charlie more. I think Charlie's more of the honest actor here by a long shot. So I'm trying to be fair here and give them like both like a fair, because there were a lot of points I'll admit that Charlie made that were pretty weak. That I reacted to. But for the most part, I think Charlie was more on the ball, and he actually did a lot better than I expected him to be. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on the debate. I mean, it was a lot more interesting than I expected it to be, honestly. But yeah, so I'll probably cut this up later tonight on the channel. I'm not going to wait around for that. But let me see what the time is right now. I kind of got to get out of here, but I don't want to necessarily... I'll stream for another like 15 minutes and just chat with you guys. But then I gotta bounce because I gotta cut up videos and edit a bunch of shit, and then I gotta head out later tonight. But I did want to stream earlier today. Let me check up on the super chat as well as the regular chat. Yo, Turtle, thank you for the 23 months. Appreciate that. Lek through $5 says Sneako couldn't go home for Christmas because an article attacked him and called him racist, and his family read it. Yeah, dude, I remember that shit, bro. So apparently Sneako went on a podcast and admitted that like his family did not want to talk to him because of that article where when he announced he was going to be working for the Yay campaign. You know, that article came out, like racist YouTuber is working for Yay. And apparently his family read that and disavowed him. And see, that's the thing, right? Because when everyone reacted to that clip, they were like, wow, fuck you, Sneako. You ruined your life, and now your own father won't even talk to you. That was what social media said. But what I was thinking was, okay, I understand Sneako's like an asshole, and that he sucks, and that he's a cuck, and he's pathetic. I get all that, right? But if you're going to let personal politics cause you to ruin your own relationship with your son, there's no honor in that. You know, like I'm not saying you can't laugh at that. If you want to say that's hilarious, that's one thing, right? But I'm saying like, I don't see that and side with the family. If I have to pick a side here, like there's no fucking honor in that. I don't care what, you know, politics like my son is going to have. It's never going to like to the point where I'm disavowing family over personal politics. That's crazy. You know, and maybe that's a little bit closer to the woke mind virus that Sneako's talking about. That makes a little bit more sense. If you focus more on that example, like look at how, you know, the woke agenda promotes these values so hard that it's brainwashed my own family into disavowing me over what? My TikToks? Really? That's all it took for you to sever contact with me? If Sneako focused more on stuff like that, that's in my opinion that's a way stronger argument than you know, Turkey Tom called me gay in this video. He promotes the liberal mind virus. That doesn't make any sense. I thought Sneako said he wouldn't stop arguing about the red pill if he went home. Well, even that or whatever. It's like if you're annoyed at your kid talking about politics, just tell them to shut the fuck up. It's that simple. Shut the fuck up. I don't care. Disavowing your fucking son over politics, that's crazy talk. And the way social media views that is like, oh, well, look, this is where his own worldview has led him. But the way that I view that is, no, this is how crazy the world has become, that it's separating families. It's kind of like the same shit where, you know, when Trump got elected, you know, families were unironically splitting apart. Like if you voted Trump and someone else's family votes Hillary, there was Facebook posts everywhere of people talking about this phenomenon. And that's crazy talk. If someone's going to cause drama at the family Christmas dinner, why invite them? Is talking about politics causing drama? Have we become so pathetic and sensitive that like we can't even handle somebody mouthing off about their views without going, fuck you, you're disavowed, never come home again? Is that really the status that we're at? We're hearing someone, your own son, mouth off about women. That's enough for you to hate them? Holy shit. That's nuts.